Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse, episode 495. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
Hey, what's going on?
Yes, if you're watching the video version, Matt's a bit stuttery. His audio seems to be fine though, so we'll just roll with it. We tried fixing it with restarting calls and whatnot, but this is the way it's got to be. It's the way it's got to be. So this is a DC Comics podcast. We get together, we talk about the books we read this week. Coming up on today's show, we've got Absolute Batman 17, Superman Unlimited issue 10, Wonder Woman 30, Nightwing 135. We've got our new Vertigo book with End of Life issue 1, plus some Patreon books. We'll talk about Green Arrow issue 24, and I'll be talking about Gideon Falls issue 11. So that's what's coming up on the show this week. But that's not all, because SOLICITS are also this week, and there was some new things in there. They were at like a con during the week, making some announcements and teasing things, so there's plenty to talk about as far as news goes as well. So we'll be getting into that as well. But yeah, well, Matt, how was your week?
Pretty uneventful, so which is good in this day and age. So just mainly mini comics. I think if I read anything else, I don't think so. It was mainly trying to keep my head above water. So yeah, been watching a lot of Olympic curling, so that's fun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's like shuffleboard, Pete.
No,
so
I know what it
if
is.
you've seen it, okay, gotcha.
I mean, to be fair, Matt, I think I know what curling is more than I do shuffleboard, so it's weird that you went the other way to try and explain that to me.
Yeah, well, I never know with you in sports. So
yeah, no, my silence and reaction was not because I didn't understand what it was. It was just like I have nothing to say about the subject of curling or Winter Olympics or some such. But hey, I'll tell you what, I do have something to say, and I this is almost becoming a bit of a weekly tradition on this show, and I almost feel bad.
What did I do now?
I almost feel bad, but yet again, I've watched the movie and then went to Letterboxd and saw your rating for it and went, what's he on? What's he doing?
Let me see. Am I not allowed to have opinions anymore on the internet?
I'm just saying you like a lot of mediocre stuff, okay? That's all I'm saying.
I know what you're going to say, which I didn't expect you to like this movie anyways.
I should have liked it. The premise was right up my alley. It's exactly my kind of premise, but Drop was very mediocre, Matt.
Yeah. I had a good time with it. Of course, I watched it at home with a full belly. So we watched that on it wasn't like a date night. It was like a stay-in date night. So, it helps not having to go to the theater and spend that kind of money. Puts me in a better mood. I thought it was a lot of fun. That guy, though, keep him away from Batman. I keep seeing all this talk about this Brandon Skenlar, whatever it is. And I'm like, no.
Okay, before we get away from it here, do you think I went to see this in the theater yesterday?
No, but you don't get affected. You know what? I don't know what's showing anymore. So maybe there's a limited time. They're dropping again.
No.
No.
Yes. So all of those qualifiers, I also watched at home and whatnot. So, but no, it was mediocre. It could have been great. There's several versions of this movie. I think it would have been great. A more serious Hitchcockian thriller, a more consistently fun, light movie, and it somehow thread the needle between all of that into just being bland. So yeah, cannot recommend Drop, everyone, I'm afraid.
I liked the lady in it. I thought she was pretty good.
I actually think I disagree with that. I think she was actively kind of weak. Yeah.
Oh no, I liked her. I like the mystery that's going on with her. Not the whole backstory. So, the reveal, not a big fan of that.
Oh, the reveal sucks. The entire third act is bad.
Yeah. So, but I had fun. I went with below zero expectations. So,
editing was too choppy. I have a list of complaints, but we won't have to get into it anymore. It's just
I do like this though. I do. But people think that Pete's bullying me. He's not. This is just our relationship.
I felt bad because I watched the movie, went to Letterboxd and saw your rating and goes, oh no, I'm going to have to tell Matt off again. And I've been doing it too often recently.
Please do. It's fine.
So yeah, I watched that. I watched a few other things. I've been trying to keep my average up this year. It's been a very busy week for big video game news, so my attention's been more looking towards that. Mostly negative video game news at that. So it's been, taking up the attention span. But hey, we got comics to talk about, so that's just a nice way to go into the weekend. So we will get into the usual stuff. We'll start off with the Kindle rankings, formerly known as the ComiXology Top 10. Rest in peace, ComiXology. So just looking at the order of the books, is because they're based on sales numbers on Kindle right now. Matt, what do you think number one is for the week?
Well, if Absolute Batman's out, it's usually number one. So that's my guess.
That is correct. Absolute Batman is indeed number one. Number two is Ultimate Spider-Man. 3 is G.I. Joe, because, okay, I guess.
Why not?
Yeah, it's especially weird for me because G.I. Joe was not a thing in the UK. No one gave a shit about G.I. Joe. You know that last Transformers movie where they teased a G.I. Joe crossover at the end? Yeah. Like, in a Scottish cinema, that landed with just a thud. Like, no one gave a crap. So, anyway. Number 4 is X-Men 25. Number 5 is Uncanny X-Men. Number 6 is Wonder Woman. 7 is Batman Superman World's Finest. 8 is Amazing Spider-Man, 9 is Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon, and 10 is Captain America. So remember how last week it was 8 DC books, and it was look at them. This week it's complete flipped. This week we've got 7 or 8 Marvel books. So fair enough. Swings and roundabouts, as they say.
I think it's funny that there's an Uncanny X-Men 24, but no adjective X-Men 25, and they just keep repumping those out.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, one Marvel book did catch my eye this week, and that is a new Laura and Gabby book called Generation X by Jodie Houser.
Oh.
Yeah, that name caught my eye. So, I mean, I don't know if and when I'll get to it, but I did see it and go, oh, I actually might want to read that. So yeah,
Generation X23. I like, that's a clever name. I like Jodie Houser. Can't remember the last time I read a Jodie Houser book, though. So that's like an old friend coming back into your life.
Yeah, it's been a little while. She sadly never got a proper ongoing at DC. She'd come in and do an arc or a mini or something. Yep. So
I remember her Supergirl was we liked that one a lot. That was like an 8 issue, I believe.
So, something like that, yeah. So yeah, that's that. Just outside the top 10, we got Titans at 12, Nightwing's at 15, Superman Unlimited's at 17. So yeah. Nightwing should be higher, but I've been saying that every single month. Nightwing's been out for a long time, so that's fine. So yeah, there's the Kindle rankings for the week, and we can get into the more meaty side of this, which is the solicits. Now we'll do solicits first, and then I'll look at the news stuff afterwards. So because a lot of it comes up in both, but we'll do solicits first, and then we'll have a look at the news to see if anything else that's teased for down the line, because I know there's a couple of things at least. So this is the May solicitations for DC, starting off with Absolute Batman issue 20, and that covers certainly teasing something coming to Absolute Batman.
I was going to make a Red Hood joke, but we've already had Red Hood and it's Harley, so...
I was going to make a Ratcatcher.
Or Ratcatcher, yeah.
Yeah, for those who are not getting what we're spelling out here, there's a giant R on the cover, and Batman's looking at it all in awe of the R.
So, my favorite comment I've seen that is because it's Absolute Batman, that's just the chest of Absolute Robin.
He's a kaiju. He's going to step back.
I was like, oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish I thought of that.
That's one big giant dick.
Yes, it is.
All right, there we go. Absolute Catwoman issue 1. This is going to be written by Chi Grayson and Scott Snyder with art by Bengal. So we knew this was coming. We know it's I mean, it doesn't say in the solicit, but I'm pretty sure they said when they first teased it there was going to be a 6-issue or thereabouts limited series. So we know that going in, and that's cool. So yeah, character's been interesting in the Batman book, so I'm excited to see more of her.
Yeah, looking like the classic gray suit from the animated series. It looks like on that cover. A version of it.
Of course, but with the shiny Absolute dome.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Much fun. Yeah, if they ever try and do a movie or something with this Catwoman helmet, they're going to have to work around the reflections constantly. It's it's going to be a constant bugbear for them. Speaking of Absolute Minis, we've got Absolute Green Arrow issue 1 with Pornsak Pichichote. I'm probably butchering that name. And
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Raphael Albuquerque on the art, which is a nice guy. Yeah, so this is also a limited series. Really moody cover here. So, and the first line of the text for this one is, a serial killer is slaughtering corrupt billionaires. So we're going straight up kill the rich with this one. So that's fun. So yeah, a couple of Absolute Minis coming down the line. There's some variants for that one as well. Some of them look quite nice now that I'm looking at them. So very good. And then on the rest of the Absolute books, we got Absolute Superman issue 19 with more Shazam business by the looks of it. We got Absolute Wonder Woman issue 20. Sherman's on art for that one, just to keep that clear.
That's a really cool cover.
Yeah,
on that one.
We got Absolute Green Lantern 14, which has got Sid Koshin on the art for this one. So that's that. And then we have Absolute Flash 15, which has cover missing, which is always exciting. But that's that. And then we have Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 12, which of course is the final issue of that book.
Yeah. I saw Dennis Camp talking about this week, and he said, like, him and the artist, why am I drawing a blank on the name?
Javier Rodriguez.
Yes. They would love to keep going, but something else came up that they're working on together. That's a dream project. And so they're putting a pin. It's not, I believe he said it's not goodbye, it's see you later, which is always good. Okay. But I'm very curious to see what the project is that came up for the both of them.
Well, question was there any allusion to that being a DC dream project or just a dream project in general?
Just a dream project in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep expectations in check then. Then we got, one of our first new books here, otherwise, is Barbara Gordon Breakout, and obviously that title was very, that stuck out in that initial list of next level books, and it was very curious what it is. I'm delighted that Mariko Tamaki is the writer on this book. Yep. That's very cool. We got a Mankey and a Hilpin on the art for this. And the basic premise of this is that Barbara Gordon goes to prison for helping bat vigilantes, which I actually think is a cool premise because it ties into the whole, Savage is commissioner and they're hunting the Bat family and all that. But it also implies that they've not learned that she's Batgirl or is part of the Bat family. So they're putting, I'm expecting the nerdy redhead version of, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me.
You're stuck in here with me?
Yeah.
And on top of it, it makes it seem like Savage is going after because she's also a Gordon. Right? Yes. So you're trying to clear that out as well. So it adds to that. This is of course it's Babs, so we're going to be interested. But the fact that it was Tamaki doing this, that was very exciting because her in the Bat area is always a good formula. Yeah.
Now, this is a really cool premise, and obviously this is going to be a limited series. There's no way this is an ongoing, but that's okay because it's clearly a story that's going to be one and done. So no, very. I mean, admittedly, is it 6 issues? Is it 12 issues? Who knows at this point? I don't think they've said.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that is obviously in May. But I expect we'll be into that. Then Zatanna issue 2 is up next. So obviously that's the Jamal Campbell book that's starting up. Batwoman issue 3 hits in May. And that looks like a certain question on the cover.
Yep.
So that should be fun. We got Lobo issue 3 hitting in May. That's a hell of a cover. I'll say that much.
Yep.
Then we got Deathstroke, the Terminator issue 3. So then all those books are just about to start. Same with the next one, Fury of Firestorm issue 2. So yeah, that's all the next level books coming out in May. And then we're on to the rest of the stuff, which is starting off with Batman issue 9, which is fun. Notably, we got Batgirl, as in Babs, on the cover for this one as well. I wonder if this actually sets up the other book. Maybe this actually sets up Breakout in the main Batman book.
Yeah, because they're talking about Mayor Isley, which is the whole Poison Ivy becoming mayor type thing. So I feel like there's something going on there that's going to lead to Babs in jail.
Yeah, so that's neat. And that's out a week before the Babs book, so that should flow quite nicely if they do set stuff up in that one. Notably as well, Ryan Sook's on the art for that Batman issue.
Yeah.
So it's a little change. Poison Ivy 44 next. You got Jaime Infante. Is that how you say that name?
So how it looks to me.
Yeah, on the art. So got that. Then we got Batgirl issue 19. Looks like they're doing some Spirit World stuff.
I'm excited.
Cass on that. Then Detective Comics 1109. These 4-digit numbers are really awkward to say actually when we get to these books. But yeah, so yeah, more of Tom Taylor's Detective run. And then we got Nightwing 138 with Dan Waters and Dennis Cowan's on the art for this issue.
That cover is ominous.
It's very horror movie-esque, isn't it? We're doing more horror stuff, which I'm fine with. Give me a horror Bloodhaven. Yeah. I'm all for it. So, good stuff. Then we got Harley Quinn 62. I mean, I don't feel like I'm in the know-how to even comment on this. I'll just say, that's chugging along. People are buying it.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good Catwoman cover. What's this?
Yes, it is. You know what?
Wow.
I was gonna wait for maybe the patrons to assign this, maybe, but I might have to start reading this because with each month these covers, it seems like it's rounding into form.
I mean, Connor was recommending it.
Yeah.
Well, don't go flat firing ahead, Matt. We could maybe sync up and maybe actually.
Gotcha.
Talk about it on the show, perhaps.
Okay.
We'll go back to the start of the run, maybe. I don't know. Let us know in the comments wherever you're listening if that sounds of interest.
Because with each, I feel like for the last three solicits, there's been like these cool covers and reading the text on there. So I'm like, that seems like a really good Catwoman story.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to catch up.
It's a beautifully painted cover with Black Mask holding like a red knife, and then who's the white-haired lady?
Someone's behind. Yeah.
I don't know who that is. From the glance. I mean, maybe it's. There's a name in the text that I won't say just in case it's a spoiler, but maybe it's that person. But regardless, that is Catwoman 87. Then we got Wonder Woman issue 33 up next with oh god, what's the villain's name? The matriarch. I keep forgetting her goddamn name. I'm sure when she's actually more in the main story more, I'll remember it. But Tom
King's been talking about how this is essentially Wonder Woman's Days of Future Past, right? So we'll be jumping ahead, and then there'll be things playing out, and that's what he had said was like the inspiration.
I mean, that makes sense given what they've teased so far with the future stuff with the matriarch and Lizzie. That makes complete sense.
Yep. So that
interesting comparison.
Pretty cool.
Then we got Justice League Unlimited issue 19. More Mark Waid with Dan Mora there. First time I've seen Dan Mora's name so far. I'm shocked.
Yes, I know. He must be sick or something.
Yeah, must have an off month.
The Return of the Brainiac Queen. Okay. And we're moving on.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be going back to that book after KO, man. I feel like I'm okay.
Yeah.
Then we got JSA issue 19. So this is actually the first issue post year one, I think. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, obviously we keep reading it, so I mean we'll probably get there and see how it is.
I feel like sometimes it's the one that won't die,
Yeah. But that's there. We got DC Sonic the Hedgehog, the Metal Legion issue 1. All right, I see a cover with Flash and I think that's Sonic in red. That's meant to be, even though
with the Flash.
Yeah, I feel like his head should still be blue, even if he's wearing a red suit. Because I get that Knuckles is wearing a Superman suit, and Amy's wearing like a Wonder Woman get-up. What's Knuckles wearing? Yeah. Knuckles got cyborg stuff on. Cyborg. Yeah.
And then whoever the gray guy is has the Green Lantern ring.
That's Silver, maybe.
Okay.
Now,
I don't know much about Sonic.
I mean, honestly,
Sonic should have some blue accents up there, like. Yeah, we're stretching the limits of what I know about Sonic once you start asking me about who the guy in the white hair is, but like, right.
I know the other ones.
I'm assuming Shadow's in the Batman pose there, with his back to everybody.
Oh, I don't even suppose he.
Right there next to Tails.
Next to Tails. Oh yeah, I see him. Okay, he just sort of blended in. Yeah, that'll be Shadow for sure. That makes sense.
So.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's the extent of my Sonic knowledge, but I do think that it's cool that Knuckles is the Superman counterpart.
Because he flies?
Well, there's that, and I just the powerhouse, I guess, aspect of him. You know, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit cynical. The one woman is Wonder Woman because, well, what else you gonna do?
Yeah. Do you remember the cartoon that was on in the 90s?
Yeah, I think there's where he eats chili dogs all the time. Yes, I remember it.
Yeah, there was one that was a bit more serious, and it wasn't like as syndicated, but there was more of a continuity to it.
The HBO gritty version of Sonic, where he's like on crack.
No, the animation style was a bit more clean and whatever. But anyways, there was a bunny character that was half robotic. And I wonder what happened to her, if that was just for the show or if that's not in the lore. But I feel like she's underrepresented at this point.
Yeah, there is a couple other female characters. There's Rouge the Bat, and then there's a cat character whose name I don't remember. But it's not. But there's Amy, there's Rouge the Bat, and then there's another female character who I think is meant to be a cat.
Gotcha. Apparently they just casted Amy in the Sonic movies. And people are excited.
Yeah.
So.
Kristen Bell, I believe, is going to play Amy. So there's that.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on with the solicits. Enough Sonic talk. Superman 38. It continues to be prime time.
So mad. I heard the Demore again. Who is this on the cover? Who is this redhead with fire powers?
I believe that's Witchfire, based on the solicit text.
Gotcha.
Now, who is Witchfire? I don't know.
But much like Superboy Prime, it seems like redheads are the weakness. You know?
Actually, Matt, do you know I was making fun of you for liking mediocre movies? Yes. I was on stream talking about this, and someone in chat accused you of just liking attractive women in movies, and that's why you rate certain movies so high.
They're not wrong.
I'm not commenting.
They're not wrong. That said, not so much in Drop. That doesn't go to Drop. Maybe for Send Help with Rachel McAdams, but I have a soft spot for McAdams. You know, so
yes. Moving on. Action Comics 1098. So that's more Superboy antics, but it looks like we got a few other characters on the cover there with Martian Manhunter, Mary Marvel, and Booster Gold. So
it's almost like you try to draw the Legion of Superheroes from memory. Like they're all in the same poses, but they're not the Legion. You know?
Yeah, but they're all better characters than the Legion, so this is a win.
Look, I'm not like I love Mary Marvel. You're saying Booster Gold's better than Lightning Lad, Pete?
Yes.
Are you gonna?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Of course. Jason Todd's better than most of the Legion.
No, let's not go that far. Not Jason.
my last turd is better than most of the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, those poses, man. Mary Marvel's there like it's that's usually how Saturn Girl
I think it's very clear they're doing some kind of Legion style story here with a different group of characters, because I suspect these are from the future, right? That'd be my guess without reading anything. That's my guess.
Yeah. So
yeah. Supergirl 13 is next. So yep, that's Sophie Campbell on both writing and art duties. And then we got Superman Unlimited issue 13. Lucas Meyer doing the art on this one. So that's cool.
Nice.
We got some Beppo stuff happening in there, apparently.
Yeah. I was like, Super Monkey? Yes, let's go.
Then we got Batman Superman World's Finest 51. There's a T-Rex.
Don't let me go back for the dinosaurs, Pete. Just be like, remember the, you know.
You know, Matt, people were asking this week for us to read this week's issue because apparently the start of the new arc was better than it's been.
I mean, it did have Owlman and Ultraman on the cover, but man, I don't know. It's a hard to come back from that combo BS. And that left a real bad taste. But it's dinosaurs. I look at this one and there's dinosaurs. Yeah,
there's also I don't know if that's technically a saber-toothed tiger, but there's a tiger of sorts that looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it has saber teeth, although it is looking like a Siberian.
Yeah, that's why I was questioning. I didn't think saber-toothed tigers had the black and white stripes.
I mean, we don't know. They could have. There's been no. I don't think. As far as we know, there hasn't been any imprints.
They could have been bright green for all we know.
Yeah, like okay. Battle Cat and Cringer from He-Man. You know.
I mean, I don't. I.
He's a bright green tiger, so that's why I thought you were going that way. But no, apparently they're doing Skitaris, which that would make sense if it's prehistoric.
Matt, I want you to understand that I have never been sad enough to watch He-Man. I want you to know that.
You never saw the Dolph Lundgren one?
I've never even seen the Dolph Lundgren one. No.
Oh man.
He-Man is a lot like G.I. Joe. No one here cared.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Next up we got New Titans. So they've renamed Titans to New Titans for the new run, which is convenient actually from a jumping in point of view. So yeah, we'll be looking at the first part of that when it starts the month prior. But Tate Brown Bal, Sammy Basri, neat stuff. Then we got Emperor Aquaman. So this is another one that's been renamed for the start of it's not even a new run. It's still Adams, but they're just renaming it post KO. So I'll bring this up here actually. I've not even told Matt this yet. So the vote for next month, Matt. I can't even see his reaction. I can just hear him giggling as I say that. So yeah, the vote for next month is like, okay, there wasn't really issue ones that we wouldn't be trying anyway, because they're all things we will just try. So I noticed a lot of books had this arc starts here banner. So the two books that are in the vote, other than our traditional Batgirl issue that's always there, is the next issue of Aquaman and the next issue of Supergirl, because they're both to start a new arcs. Because we're trying the new runs of the things that have new teams. Well, we'll let them vote on which other run will give another chance with a new arc. So
fair.
Yeah. So you might end up reading Emperor Aquaman 15 or whatever it is next month. So.
Oh, fun times.
There we got Green Lantern issue 35. Next up, which
looks like it's focusing on Odyssey the Time Bandit, which cool. Yep. I like her.
Yep. And then we got Green Lantern Corps issue 16. So also good. Then we have Tales of the Green Lantern Corps Guy Gardner issue 1. What is this?
I think it's Jerry Duggan on the writing, Matteo Lolli on the art. So hey,
yeah, but why does Guy have an issue of some kind here? What is this? I mean, it's annual sized, so I would guess this is a one shot. But yeah,
48 pages, $6. Look, I will be reading this regardless. So it is Guy. They called it Light Club, a tale of the best and worst Lantern in the Corps, which I guess that is the best way to describe Guy Gardner. He's the best at being the worst.
I don't know if I've ever read anything by Jerry Duggan, because he's mostly done a lot of Marvel, right?
Yeah, he's had a couple stories in the collections I know that we've read. So I think he came over with Fraction when Fraction did the Jimmy Olsen book. So way back when there was some Jerry Duggan popping in and out. So but yeah, no, cool. This it's a fun cover. There's a David Aja cover as well that looks real cool. So yeah.
Hey, he's better than Legion of Superheroes. I'll give Guy Gardner that.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
I can't argue with you on Legion, because every time you've tried Legion, you've been like, "This is goddamn terrible." So I can't argue with it.
Like, and I like poking the bear. I think it's funny. I want to be clear. Yes. I'm sure there's a Legion book out there that I would think is good. I'm sure it exists, but every one I've tried, I've not really liked.
I'm just saying, patrons, when he's done with Gideon Falls, there is the Mark Waid Legion, the 3 boot that started in like 0304. Nice. That had some runs. So
look, nice try. I see what you're trying to do, but no, we shall continue on. The Flash issue 33 is next. So yeah, again, we're going to try out the new run of that when it starts, I think next month. We got Adventures of Superman, the Book of El, issue 8. So that's trucking along. Then we got Gotham Academy first year, issue 4. So that's going as well.
This.
And then we got Superman Father of Tomorrow issue 1, written by Kenny Porter and art by Danny Earls. Yeah, I don't know what this is at all. In a in a corner of far-flung space, a world explodes. A lone rocket escapes from the destruction and races through space, ultimately landing in a small farm in a small... I mean, I feel like I know all this, but okay. A kindly couple steps in with trepidation towards the alien craft. As the doors open, out steps a man named Jor-El, the sole survivor of the planet Krypton. As Jor-El fits into his new home, he realizes that he can help the world, not just with his newfound powers, but with his intellect as well. Witness how the Man of Steel and science saves the world. So this is a complete sort of Elseworld.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
This is like the closest to a what if Elseworld I've heard in quite some time. This is like, what if Jor-El survived Krypton?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I get why they did the whole explaining the origin, because obviously they're building up to the twist that it's not, Kal-El. But yeah, I wonder, is this like a 6-issue thing or what? Like, what is this? This is interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a one-shot, though, because it's a typical sized book, so I expect it's at least a few issues.
Yeah, I mean, also with the #1 on there as well, like, I feel like...
Yeah, but even all one-shots say #1 as well.
No, yeah, but I just, just with the of it, I don't think a 32-page one-shot would be enough to expound on what if Jor-El
and of course,
landed here.
32 actually means 20,
Right.
So yeah, we got Swamp Thing 1989 issue 2. So yeah, that's that unpublished Swamp Thing arc finally coming out. We got Sirens Love Hurts issue 4. So that's going along as well. Then we got some facsimile editions. We got Batman Static Beyond issue 6. We have Nice House by the Sea issue 10. So I guess we're at the Vertigo section here now. So that's cool. We got Bleeding Hearts issue 4. We have The Pearl of the Brutal Dark and Ezra Kane Mystery issue 4. We have End of Life issue 4. We have Mad Magazine issue 50. And then we get some more facsimile editions. I don't know why there was that one facsimile edition like higher up, but hey.
Right.
And then obviously after that we're at the collections. We got Teen Titans Together trade paperback. So that's Cami Garcia and Gabrielle Piccolo. And then we got Nightwing Volume 3, The Cirque du Sin hardcover. Is that really the third arc from Dan Wars? Or maybe arc's not the right word, but that's the third volume of his run.
Yeah,
it must be.
We started with the spheric stuff, right? And then we've led into the Zani. So this is the Cirque du Sin. So, and this is only 5 issues or 6 issues, 130 to 135.
Yeah,
so,
I guess I just didn't realize, like, it's been in so quick because I've been enjoying it. I didn't realize it was that many issues that built up to like what we've been doing now.
Yeah, no, because then we also had the in between before this started, where he goes into Titan's Tower.
Yeah, that's
right,
true,
with
true.
Nightwing Prime. So yeah, we're just enjoying it, so it's flying by.
Yeah, so that's got both hardcover and softcover. So that's cool. Poison Ivy Volume 7, both hardcover and softcover. That's issues 38 to 41, which is not a lot of regular issues, but there's also a couple of one-shots and an annual in there.
Yeah.
We also have Batman and Robin Volume 3, The Quiet Man. So that's obviously the last chunk of Johnson's Batman and Robin run, only in softcover, that one. We got Batgirl of Burnside, Compact Edition. So, yep, speaks for itself, really. Not my Batgirl run by any means. I dropped after a couple of issues, but hey, for completion's sake, I get it. DC Finest, Fourth World, When the Old Gods Die. So yeah, this is proper Kirby stuff.
I might have to get this just to have it, because I've become a fan of the Fourth World and Jack Kirby over the course of the show. This would be nice to have.
Yeah, so yeah, and this is a bunch of mini-series basically. It's Mr. Miracle 1-4, Forever People 1-5, New Gods 1-4, a couple of Jimmy Olsen issues. So it's it's a collection of different things that make up that stuff. Then we got DC's Finest, Batman Blind Justice. So, yep, got that.
It says writer Adam West. So what is this?
I mean, I assume he guested at least on part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you also have Alan Grant, who did a lot of Batman, Alan Brennert, Brian Augenstein. So,
it's crazy that Alan Grant went to Jurassic Park and then wrote Batman. That's so weird to me.
There was also an Alan Grant in my college, actually.
Huh?
Just happened to have that name. Then we got Shadow of Batgirl, new printing. This is the graphic novel by Sarah Kuhn. Then we got Batman the Black Casebook, deluxe edition. So that's cool. We got Absolute Ronin hardcover, and this is actually where the Absolute name gets confusing, because there's also a type of hardcover they put out called the Absolute line. So that's going to get confusing now that we have the Absolute universe. But yes. So this is a Frank Miller collection. And then we got Dark Moon Rising, Batman and the Monster Men new printing. So that's cool, they're reprinting that. That's a nice little post-year one story if you want to do a sort of timeline of Batman reading order. And then we got Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the deluxe edition, new edition, so they're reprinting the deluxe version of that. Surprisingly pretty good. And not surprising because I expect that Tynion wouldn't be good, but just because I don't expect much from crossovers like this, and it's actually a really good one if you like Turtles and Batman. Then we got Batman the Bronze Age Omnibus Volume 1. So this is actually kind of a big deal that they're starting to do the Bronze Age collections of Batman. This has got Detective 393 to 422 and Batman 217 to 241. So pretty hefty amount, just under 1,000 pages.
Yep.
So it's nice they're getting to that era.
Intro of Ra's al Ghul. So yeah. What a time.
Yeah, I just hope some of these issues that weren't on DC Infinite actually make it there now, because they've been restored for this. Wishful thinking, perhaps. Elseworlds Justice League Omnibus Volume 1 also coming out. So yeah, a bunch of Elseworlds collected. Then we got Get Jiro, the complete collection. Yeah,
this is the Anthony Bourdain book. It's about a sushi chef. It's like a satire about the obsessiveness of food culture and like a Blade Runner-esque LA. So
then we got John Constantine Hellblazer by Paul Jenkins and Sean Phillips Omnibus. So yep, nice big meaty run there, 1,200 pages. And there's Justice League of America, the Silver Age Omnibus Volume 1 in new printing. So yeah, just reprinting that stuff. Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Redondo Omnibus Volume 2. So yeah, the back half of that run. About 600 or so pages. So that's cool. And then we've got Teen Titans The Bronze Age Omnibus new printing. And then we got Robin Year 1 trade paperback new printing. Absolute Infinite Crisis hardcover. Is this the first time they've done this in absolute form? It might be.
Maybe. Seems like it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it works as an absolute. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the Omnibus is the better choice because some of the build-up to Infinite Crisis is quite good. And the Omnibus has all that stuff, but, you know, not a bad way of doing it. Superman Action Comics by Dan Jurgens Omnibus. So this is the Rebirth run, the second half of it. So that's neat. That's all the way up to issue 999. And it has one story from 1000 that he did, but yeah, that's the chunk you're looking at there. And then we have The Flash by Joshua Williamson, Omnibus Volume 3.
That was a long run.
It was. It really was, yeah. And obviously, yeah, there's been other writers who've had like a 3 or 4 volume omnibus series, especially The Flash in particular, but yeah, but obviously Williamson's not my favourite in the end, so. And that is the end, though, of the Solicits, so there you go.
Yeah.
May Solicits, pretty hefty. So yeah, a few new things were in there, like Barbara Gordon Breakout, and you know that Green Lantern Seaman one shot and the Elseworld story. But there was some more DC chatter this week because they were at a con talking about various things, like the other new Vertigo books coming later in the year, many of which they'd announced in the last batch, but just hadn't been solicited yet. And then so I think a couple of these might be just be outright new. But you know, summer onwards, we're getting 100 Bullets, the US of Anger, which we definitely knew about that one. Sorry, US of Anger and Fanatic. Sorry, that's the full title. I didn't realize that was part of the same title. And then in autumn, we've got the Necretaceous, which is the Tom Taylor
Vertigo
book. Yep. Yeah, these are all Vertigo books I'm talking about this now. And we got Black Tower, The Raven Conspiracy coming in fall. And then in winter, we're getting The Crying Doll and A Walking Shadow. And I think those are new. I don't remember those titles from the last time they announced all these books.
No.
But the Crying Doll is Mariko Tamaki.
Okay.
So that's cool. And then what's this one? A Walking Shadow is Cy Spurrier with Aaron Campbell on art. So yeah. So that's the Vertigo stuff that we're talking about. And then they talked about some of the stuff that were in the solicits, like the Absolute Green Arrow, Absolute Catwoman, that kind of stuff. But there's a new Teen Titans book coming as well, with Red Hood leading the team.
Yep. Two mystery people on the team, and then some familiar faces.
Yeah, we got Shoes, or what would they call her hero name? Like
it's Cheshire Cat.
Cheshire Cat, yeah. We got Flatline. I was actually talking to David about this and debating if that is like a new outfit for Fair Play, and the blue jacket with the F on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then there's a couple of other characters who I'm like Orange Jacket Boy and Hazard Man, because he's got like the Hazard sign on his t-shirt.
Yep.
So yeah. Don't know what to feel about that. That's Kyle Higgins and Danielle Di Nicolo who are doing this new Teen Titans book. So that's something. But yeah. So there was more stuff announced, or there was more, like, they teased a timeline again, and some of the things we knew were coming are on there. Like, you know, later in the year we're getting Batman Shadow of the Bat, which we knew about. We know there's a Legion of Superheroes book with Williamson coming. And there's a Demon book, there's a Jonah Hex book. The one that I don't remember them announcing before that's on that timeline, though, is a new Doom Patrol book, which I hope I like the team on that, because I'm into Doom Patrol getting a new book.
That last miniseries was real good.
It was, yeah, that last 12-issue book. Or it wasn't even 12, it was only like 7 issues now, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope Doom Patrol is good. I hope I like the team on it. Jonah Hex and the Demon... we'll see. You need to put someone really exciting on those to get me fired up, I think.
Yeah, Jonah Hex is one of those ones that I want to read, and I just, like, I never get around to it. So I've heard nothing but good things about, like, there was the Palmiotti and Connor, I think. They had done one that was supposed to be really good, but yeah, I just never get around to it. So using the show as a, because I don't think we've had an actual Jonah Hex book since the show started. So, using this as the excuse to read Jonah Hex is not bad.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, and there was some more talk about some of the things coming up, like the Bad Seeds. I don't know if we're calling it an event or just like the story arc, but this
crossover.
This is like, Vandal Savage declaring war on the Bat family and Ivy becoming mayor and doing all that stuff. So they're teasing that. So yeah.
I also saw that Hattush got delayed again. So, yep.
Okay, even 2026 by this point?
Yep. I don't know. I just saw that, that was part of the stuff that was coming out. Like, I saw it next to the new Teen Titans book and that type of stuff as well, that Hattush has been delayed yet again.
Oh, we're all waiting.
Very funny stuff.
Bated breath, aren't we? Can't wait.
So, something like that.
The train wreck that is Hattush. But yeah, so yeah, there was a spattering of news stories coming out of the con. And some of it's genuinely quite interesting. I have to admit that, like, I really like Flatline and Shoes on this new Teen Titans team, but obviously Red Hood being the leader, and whoever these new characters are, I mean, we'll find out. But yeah,
Captain Red Shirt.
Yeah. Also, they did also announce there's going to be the Dead Man book is going to be by W. Maxwell Prince and Martin Morazzo, the team from Kryptonite Spectrum. So, yeah. I mean, could be. I mean, I wasn't in love with that book. It kind of went downhill for me as it went along.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like in such a way where I think, oh, I never want to read it by this team again. I'm still open to giving them a shot.
I almost feel like Dead Man's the perfect character for whatever their style is, because I've heard that's what Ice Cream Man was like as well, with Superman, and maybe Superman just wasn't a fit. But there were some storytelling devices that I appreciated in Kryptonite Spectrum, that if they wanted to get super trippy and weird, I don't see a worse character to try it on than Dead Man. Yeah,
no, he's a good fit for that kind of thing, I think. So, it's nice that there is so much stuff. They also apparently teased briefly that the first Absolute event will be coming at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
So I'm excited to see what that ends up being. But no, good stuff. So that'll do. I'm sure there's maybe some other little things that I've missed. So by all means, talk about them in the comments and let us know what else is going on. But that will do for the news, so we can get into actually talking about the books. So yes, Absolute Batman issue 17. Scott Snyder writing with Eric Canete.
Yeah.
On art.
Canete? I don't know.
Did my best.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is their first Poison Ivy issue here, and it does actually call him a guest artist on this. So I guess he's doing like a 2-part or 3-part or whatever this is going to be of the Poison Ivy stuff. And would you believe it? She is more monstrous than she normally is.
Who would have seen that coming? Not me.
No. I was expecting her to be more of like a flower girl in this, because everything in the Absolute universe has been smaller in the Batman side of things.
Yeah. Look, when it come to find out when we get her final form at the end of the issue, I was shocked that she just wasn't a gigantic tree woman. So that's really where I thought we were going. You know, like this big walking kaiju tree, and then, you know, it's still in the cards. You know, it's just part 1. So we could get there.
Well, I think she could form that if she wants, because you see her face like on the sort of the greens that they're walking on at one point. I think there's a central body that is her body, and that's who we see at the end. But I don't think that means that she. I think she's got like a hive mind going on with all of this stuff. So I think she could just make a big, kaiju version if she wants.
So thinking a lot about this, I love Ivy. We all know this. I love like ecology, and that's that side of science. And I just learned about this organism. It's actually the world's largest plant organism, and it's in next state over in Utah. It's called Pando, and it's this one kind of aspen tree that is actually a genetic clone of itself, and it goes over like 10 square miles. And I was like, I wonder if Scott Snyder knows about this, because I feel like this would be the thing that would fit into the Absolute universe. And then when we end up getting to where the story kind of goes, I go, Snyder might know about Pando. So,
What sense? He might know about Pando.
Yes.
Yeah, so we get some flashbacks. Her mother was sick, and she didn't know that necessarily growing up, but it basically describes every time she came to Gotham. So she came to Gotham as a child, first up, and, went to this building that's considered the heart of Gotham, which her mother explains is because it's right in the center of the city. It's the heart of the city, and even the winds all kind of cross over here into like the 5 boroughs of Gotham. So they're doing a little bit of, lore about Gotham, which is cool. I kind of like that.
Yeah, and I like that she took her dandelion and made a wish, so that wish scattered across Gotham. I thought that was real poetic and nice.
Yeah, and the implication is that like whatever's happening now with her, like, is her fulfilling the wish she made. It's like her pursuing that still. But yeah, basically we get this building has now been overtaken with vines in present day, and like there's like trees growing on top of the building, and it feels like very almost like an apocalypse has happened, but only in this one building.
Yeah.
So we get this cool shot from above where there's helicopters circling it and they're talking about it. And they sort of sell Batman perfectly where they're like, yeah, we're just keeping watch to see if anyone goes inside, but who would be crazy enough to try and break into this place? And then immediately chainsaw through the vines.
Yeah. Cue the chainsaw noise, and here he is, not Leatherface, but still built like him.
Yes.
Taking it in.
Dual wielding chainsaws, which he has attached to his back gauntlets.
Yes, which kind of like the Brainiac that we saw in Superman, right? With his chainsaw hands.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, this is definitely Batman's doing some woodworking here. He's ready to go.
He's here to get some logging done, log some trees. But yeah, he's got like a mask on as well, like a breather, right, to protect him from spores and things like that. Which actually comes off later on, and like Alfred's like talking to him over the comms, freaking out about it, and he's like, "It's all right, my cape's got really dense fibers. I'll just use that to cover my face. That ought to do the trick." So We'll see if it does, but that's how he ends up looking later on.
Pheromones. The thing I know about Ivy is pheromones, so I feel like those are in play for sure.
Well, they're teasing a lot more in pheromones here, because like the SWAT team that went into this building are gone. They're not human anymore, but like the bodies are vaguely still there, but they're turned into these like plant creatures. I'm like, oh, she's just straight up taking over people like body snatcher style. Like she's infected them and turned them into like her meat puppets. So yeah, they're like grotesque now. So we get Batman like running and doing whatnot from there. We also have a subplot throughout the issue of like a week ago where Bruce has been going around trying to talk to his friends and they're all turning him away. Cobblepot's like having his goons say you're not allowed here anymore and we'll beat you up if you come back. The like Two-Face has escaped from the hospital. Harvey's missing. He's disappeared. So
also the way that they said that his skull is split in two still, he hasn't fully healed, and I was just like, oh, what's that gonna do? Like, is he gonna look more grotesque than he already does?
In the Absolute universe, are you mad? No, they would never do that.
And same with Penguin. We still haven't got a good view of Oz, and there's just that close up on his eye. At least I took that's what that was when the goons are throwing Bruce out. Yeah, there's that close up on the eye peeking out, and it's just like, oh, we're doing this thing where we're not seeing them. So when they pop back up, it's gonna be startling.
I mean, we've teased it a bit when he's lying in like the bed and whatever before, but yeah, we've not seen him like standing up with an outfit on and the full look of him. So that should be fun. So yeah, we intercut from this stuff with Batman storming through the tree vines and climbing up whatever. More flashbacks of Ivy. She's like a hotshot scientist at 23, and that's the thing actually when Alfred does research or whatever, it's like, oh, like Pamela Isley, like you got that name from Arkham because you saw that name in there. Yep. She died at 25 according to the records. Obviously we see otherwise, or maybe she is technically dead and that she's not really human anymore. I mean, maybe you could argue that, but regardless.
Yeah. So I thought the way that was going, because in Ivy's background, like when we see her backstory, her mom dies, right? Or we're led to believe.
Well, she's still alive.
Cancer.
Well, she's still alive when she's 23 because she mentions that her cancers came back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but the cancer came back. So I'm like, so are they going to do a flip on us because of what we've done here? And that Ivy saved her mom, and now this is her mom because of a science experiment gone wrong, trying to save the cancer in her, and that's why Pamela's dead, but the mom is still alive. So I feel like that might be in play a little bit here. But yeah, I think that would be a fun twist on the character as well.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go to the end here and see what they actually say, because I don't remember if No, okay. So it's actually it's the because before we get to the real like Poison Ivy, we get kind of like a more perfect like normal looking one, who turns out to just be like a copy or a drone that's grown up through the plant life, and then because after that one's taken out and she's like burned with a flamethrower, we see that like Ivy's just growing multiple duplicates. There's just tons of them popping up. So yeah, technically we never actually get confirmation at the end that is indeed Pamela Isley herself. So you may be right. You may be onto something there.
I feel because the way that she talks about there was something growing in her mom, right? And there was this thing that had gone in her brain. And so I'm wondering if her messing with all of these different bioengineering type things, if that's what turned her mom into this. And now she can take the form of Pam, right? Like, of course she wanted to keep her child. And then I'm just thinking, like, because we also get some stuff with Bruce's mom, they sprinkle in. And I was like, so if the first part of this has been him coming to terms with dad issues, what if this is now him coming to terms with mom issues? And we're playing that out through Pamela and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not ready to jump in and say this is definitely the mum, and not because I could totally see it being, she just did this to herself through her freak science accidents, and her mum's dead now, or maybe her mum's still alive somewhere. Maybe that'll be something we have to reckon with, is that she'll have to actually see her mum look at her like a monster because she's.
But either way, I feel like Snyder's having fun with this because of what we've come to expect with the Absolute universe, but also the character that we're pretty familiar with. So he can throw all these red herrings and stuff out and, keep us on our toes, which I do appreciate in because we've read comics for a long time. So to be able to keep surprising like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. You also have Bruce try to see Joe Chill in prison, but Joe Chill doesn't want to see him anymore, and Bruce is furious about it, banging on the glass. So yeah, it feels like everything around him is changing up, and that's when he does go home to see his mum. It's awkward because he happens to walk in on an intimate moment where seemingly, for the first time perhaps, Gordon and his mum kiss. It seems like a... I say that because at the very least it's not something that Bruce has seen before, but it does even seem like to them that it's like that they're building up to their first kiss here with the way they're talking. But then they hear a noise and Gordon goes to investigate, and you can tell that he's figured out, oh, that was Bruce, and he just saw that, and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Also, I appreciate the very Sam Elliott-esque mustache that Canete has drawn onto Gordon.
Yeah,
because usually it's never this long and drawn out. So
yeah, and obviously Martha's saying here that there's stuff that, you know, she's got secrets that would change how people look at her, and Gordon's like, no, I still feel the same, and that's what leads to the kiss. Back to that at the end because there's something to talk about there. But yeah, you know, they tease a bunch of stuff here where there's a page where it's like Bruce walking just in his civvies, and it's like, oh, here's a panel of, you know, Jack Grimm's in Gotham, so we're, you know, building to Joker stuff. Here's a panel of Harley and her cult. And here's a panel of Dick Grayson talking to his colleague about, you know, the influence Batman's had on the city. So is
this meant to be Tompkins?
I mean, it could be, I guess.
Okay.
But
cause she has the gray hair. She seems maternal, right? So I was wondering if that was.
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking she was old here. I was thinking this was like just more silver hair, and she was like Dick's age.
Okay.
I could be wrong though. I mean,
yeah,
she doesn't look an old person to me though from the face.
No, that's why I got confused, right? But just the dialogue too. It seems like, you know, like advice from a maternal figure.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, it very well could be, but I don't want to just jump every single time we see a character who might just be like someone to talk to. That it's like, oh, this must be this character from, you know, the universe,
right?
But I mean, it could be. It very well could be. So yeah, all this is intercutting with, you know, Ivy's plant monsters, which just fly look like dragons at some points during this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of action here, a lot of panels, you know, going wonky as the fight's playing out. And you know, Batman looks kind of cool with his cape kind of like draped across his face, so you got kind of like a ninja vibe to it, which is kind of nice. And then eventually you get the reveal of the real Ivy. Again, is this Pamela Isley for reals or her mum? We'll find out. But she has what I would call a dragon arm, and by that I mean it looks like the snout of a dragon with an eye in the shoulder, which is very William Birkin from Resident Evil, might I add.
Yeah.
So.
And the way her hair comes down almost like a cape, right? Like there's tendrils from it. It's like everything about her is built from something else.
Oh, did you? I actually didn't think that was hair. I thought that was like a.
No, I took.
Because the reason why I say that is because it's almost like her hair is the spiky parts at the top that's sticking through this, like, you know, shawl.
I mean, it could be both. I just saw the red and assumed, right?
Yeah,
just because it is Ivy.
You could be right. It's the way it meets. It's the way it's set on top of her head. Like her red hair's underneath it.
Yeah,
and then that's like a green kind of shawl, and then there's like pink spikes coming up through it. But I mean, it could all be organic. It could all be part of her.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, for sure. But yeah, just the way that she is too, because in her backstory they talk about how it wasn't just plant stuff that she got into. It was all the different kingdoms, right? So she's pulling from bacteria and animals and fungus.
She even gets a little on the nose actually when she's in her narration. She's like, "Oh, I'm sure there's an Ivy out there somewhere who only looks at plant life, but that's not me." And I'm like, "All right, that's a bit on the nose, but on you go."
Yeah, but just the way that then when you see her here and she has aspects of all of them, right? And you're just like, oh man, this is like super Ivy. You know?
She's got like lizard parts. She's got like flowers growing on her. She's got like a reptile looking eye.
Those spikes could be fungus, right? Or bacteria spikes, you know, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's definitely making her like this big threat too. Like she feels larger than life. at this point, not just because of she's, we see her face in the ground in the big giant trees, right? But just the fact that there were so many copies of her, right? And then here, when we see this full monstrous version, it makes her feel like an absolute threat.
Yeah. Also, her body opens up in the next page and like more mouths and stuff come out. So she's full on like, I mean, I was saying that the eye reminded me of William Birkin, but she is like a failed Resident Evil experiment now. She's like just got monstrous parts that are just growing out of weird places and all sorts. And in the epilogue, this is actually such a funny full circle thing, because Scott Snyder invented the Court of Owls, but we're doing absolute Court of Owls because at the end, Martha is calling someone for help, and it's revealed that she was once a part, and technically they say, like, you would always be coming back to us, and we see the Court of Owls. That's who she's calling. So, I mean, I will see where that goes, I guess.
Someone had asked Scott Snyder online if the Court of Owls was the white supremacist group that Bruce had fought in the annual, just because of some owly iconography that was in that art. And he said, no, the Court of Owls is something people aren't expecting. So, they're very shadowy here, but I'm wondering if they're not necessarily a force for good, but they're an opposing factor to whatever Jack Grimm is doing. And that's what they're teasing here.
Yeah, okay.
So again, not that they're good, they're just not down with what Grimm is up to, so they can use that to for whatever. Because it definitely feels like they're the shadowy, scary organization with the way that they talk to Martha.
Yeah, they're definitely not good. I mean, unless they really shake up like our perception of them, but yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting it. Cool. I was not expecting Court of Owls out of nowhere at the end of this issue, so that was a surprise.
The fact that people were asking him about him, I thought, oh, he's setting up the next arc after this Ivy stuff. That's where we're going. There's two things I want to talk about that got skipped over because of the chaotic nature of how he was telling the story. One is Killer Croc has seemed to shed his skin because Bruce has found it in the sewer.
Which might just suggest that the artifact that he got with Wonder Woman, that might just be working as intended. Right.
But also, he said that reptiles usually only shed their skin to get bigger. Right? So it puts some doubt there that has he foregone the arrowhead? Right? Has he accepted being the creature type thing, which I did like. And then Barbara Gordon was one of the cops that went in. And Bruce saves her by pushing her off out of the building, which I thought was a fun scene.
Well, more importantly, she says, hey, I guess we'll work together this time. She's open to working with Batman, and Batman just kicks her away immediately. And she's like, son of a bitch.
And that goes more to his isolation as well, because in the story of him, like, meandering lonely like the Hulk from the 70s show, he sees what Batman's done to Gotham, and there's these guys that are popping up, selling stuff with Batman, right? And that's not what Bruce wanted, right? It feels like this version of Batman does not want to be this hero, right? This archetype that people look up to.
There's two parts to that. One is that he talks about how he did not expect the people to look at him look at the Batman this way. And he doesn't know how to deal with that. He sees people holding bat symbols, and he even starts to hate the symbol a little bit here. But then he loses his temper and smashes up that stand that the guy's selling the merch. So he's definitely feeling very conflicted. And I think the path to him accepting the idea of the public perception of Batman is something that it makes for a good story. It's actually something that the last movie did quite a bit, was this idea of like, he was just being Batman to be Batman because he wanted to deal with the things he wanted to deal with. And then part of the arc of the character in that movie is like him realizing how the regular world's going to look at him, and why that's important for him to manage that and deal with that in some way. So I feel like we're going to get some similar ideas here with, like, maybe not do it in the same way, but like, I think ultimately he's going to maybe realize or accept why it's important that his public persona matters beyond just scaring the bad guys.
Right. And on top of that too, like when he pushes Babs away or Barbara, I don't think we've earned the right to call her Babs in this universe yet. The whole idea that he needs help, right? And he's so like avoidant to that because of what happened to his friends with Bane, right? But he's got Pennyworth. He's got this version of Barbara. It seems like maybe Robin, judging from the solicits, you know, because the way that whoever Dick was talking to, you know, their conversation about how the city's gone crazy because of him, right? Like, is this going to be leading Bruce after this interaction with Ivy and stuff? Like, oh no, I can't do this alone. I am going to need this concept of the Bat family, you know, because I'm just one person.
If I was to make a guess right now, it feels like Robin in this Absolute Universe will probably start up as an independent or even as an opposing thing to Batman, and then they'll eventually, you know, work together. But I feel like it might start off as a, like, no, I'm going to do something better than you do, or I'm going to do it right because you've made the city worse kind of thing, and then maybe they'll, you know, reach some middle ground at some point. I mean, I'm just guessing. I have no idea, but like, because that's the other thing too with Harley and the Red Hood, where they talk about, you know, the Bat. We don't partner with people, and Harley's like, yeah, you know, well, I say new year, new rules, right? Too. So like, there's this building of two Batman as this concept, right? And so I do like that Snyder has seeded that in here, with that through Barbara, through Bruce's isolation and all that type of stuff. That those sets are there. Yeah. We'll maybe see how some of that stuff's coming together, and maybe this like upcoming Robin stuff will be what really propels it forward. So, no, good stuff. Obviously we have a different artist here, so it's very different than normal. How did you feel about the art?
It's good. It feels like it's doing a version of Dragotta, right? Where it feels like he took Dragotta's designs, but is doing it in his own way. Because it didn't feel out of place. Like, it wasn't a stark contrast to what we've gotten in Absolute Batman.
I think I kind of agree with that, but I will say the flashbacks with Ivy felt the most different, where it was like, oh, they're doing these sort of watercolor style palettes, and there's more of a waviness to how he draws stuff, which works for the vines and stuff like that. So it works for Ivy as a concept, but it definitely felt like different, but not bad though. It flowed very well. I'll say that much. As much as I mean, I maybe don't like it as stylistically as much as Dragotta. I think it flowed pretty well in the context of this issue.
As soon as I saw Batman not looking like this big hulking mass of a man, I was like, oh yeah, this is not Dragotta, you know? So, because it just kind of skimmed past the title page as I was reading. And I had to go back and be like, yeah, it's not Dragotta, who is it? And I was like, oh, okay. Because it was just close enough to my eye to accept it. It was a little bit different. So, but you know, good all around, man. I'm glad that Ivy's scary. Like, it's making her scary to me, a dyed-in-the-wool Poison Ivy fan, I think is a monumental effort. Yeah,
and you know, I like that even though we've got a guest artist, this didn't feel like, oh, we're doing like a filler issue. It still was advancing all these subplots. It's still an ongoing part of everything. So I appreciated that as well. So what are you giving Absolute Batman?
Maybe this is a solid 8.5.
Yeah, they'll go with an 8 for me. So very, very good. Good stuff. Superman Unlimited issue 10, Dan Slott writing with Mike Norton on the art. So this is the next part of the Prankster storyline, which I guess might be done at the end of this issue. It still feels like it's open for more. There's definitely threads to be dealt with, but it definitely leaves some stuff for down the line. So I love the continuation of the, you know how he was offended last time that they said Trickster instead of Joker?
Yep.
This issue starts off with him listening to the news, and the news is like, oh, we've ruled out Trickster, and maybe it's the Puzzler? And he's like, Puzzler? And I actually sort of paused and went, is this a real character they're referencing, or did they just make up some stupid sounding similar thing to piss him off? I think that might be the case.
No, I'm pretty sure the Puzzler was an old, like, Silver AG.
Oh, really? Deep cut. Yeah. Hey, these comic writers love to do their deep cut pulls. They're like, hey, I actually remember this thing from 1972. Here's a reference. So, yeah, I mean, I had a decent time with this issue. I mean, I think this book is a very good, like, it feels like that sort of TV show that's a very kind of like case of the week TV show where you're just kind of enjoying the adventures every week as opposed to being really into it as some big deep story.
Yeah. I like that it continued the whole thing that's been going on in Unlimited with the whole him trying to manage the going gold when there's kryptonite involved. So I do like the fact that Slott is finding new ways to expose him to the green kryptonite and for him to find a way out at this point. The whole thing with the second puzzler and all that, it kind of, I don't want to say it built to nothing, but it wasn't fulfilled with the way that it went to. You know, I do like the fact that we get the old school puzzler trying to be a man of his word still, you know, by fulfilling this contract, you know, and then trying to also get out of it.
Yeah, Intergang's not hearing it though. They're like, no, not only are you still going to kill Perry White, you're going to also pay us all of our money back because you've taken too long.
With interest. And he's going, oh man, hey, how am I going to get out of this one?
Yeah, but then it all turns out to be a ploy to have Clark be there so they can maybe kill Clark, and there's a whole clown car thing going on. Which, by the way, Superman gets attacked by robot clowns and like changes into like he's in Clark mode and he turns into Superman like in under the pile of clowns. I guess it's just hopeful that the clowns don't have like cameras in their eyes or something capturing this turn of events. But
well, and
fun.
also the fact that what.
I just said fun.
Fun. I think I said hold on. So it's also the fact that one of the guys outside the alley is like, where'd the guy go? Superman that got jumped on. And he goes like, oh, Clark Kent. I put him in the sewer. And the guy's like, oh, he's not some friend of yours if you're leaving him in the sewer. And that comes around later as a joke with the prankster and whatnot. So I thought that was a little bit of fun too.
Yeah, there's a little tease of this John storyline that they're. I mean, this is probably set up for like post KO. I assume that Slott's doing. But
well, the fact that it's revealed that the second puzzler is a metahuman that has the power to camouflage into anything, which is very weird with the way that they've drawn him, right? Because he definitely has some more shadow thief kind of vibes to him. Like he's almost taking up different space. So I wouldn't call that just usually different like camouflage, but the fact that this just seems to be a tease for what's coming next and not tying Puzzler into the fifth or fourth dimension, I thought was a bit weird. But yeah, I think that just came down to the art style. Prankster, I'm sorry. Even I did it. I have so much lack of respect for the prankster. I'm gonna keep calling him the trickster, but yeah, for prankster, like it just, I don't know. With the way that he was drawn, I felt there was something else to him.
Did you mean to say puzzler there? Because you said trickster that time.
Yes, no, I'm getting all tripped up on all the different names. Yeah, on prankster.
That's funny. It's just funny.
Anyways, he's not the fourth dimensional thing that I thought.
Yeah, but you intentionally tried to get his name wrong, but you got the wrong name wrong. It's funny to me. Anyway.
Hey man, I tripped down the stairs and landed in a bucket. All right, like that's just how it goes.
But the John stuff is separate though, because it's Mixie saying, "Hey, your arch nemesis is a fourth dimensional imp." I did actually really like John said, "But you're fifth dimensional, isn't that like small potatoes to you?" And he's like, "Yeah, but like humans are smarter than bears, but they're still scared of bears." And he's like, "Huh." You've got a point. And I'm like, so he's like a wild animal imp, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, caveman and bears. And he goes, actually, that's a good point. But what's going on? And then Mixie even says his own name backwards without being tricked to get out of there.
Because he's scared, and we get a tease of like this villain showing up. We don't get to see who it is. It's just a cliffhanger. Which I think caveman's a weird example though, because like you don't run into cavemen. You know, you can run into a bear.
True, but on the same part, it's like we think of ourselves as more advanced, right? Like the way that we think and all this other type of stuff. Yet, if you're stuck having to fight a caveman, that's not something that you'd want to have to do, right? Because just because you're more advanced, you know, they're more primal and have a different set of things. So I get it. Like I track.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that a caveman's more scary to me than like, you know, a good number of regular guys who happen, like, if you put a caveman, if you said that you have to fight one of these two guys, and you give me a caveman and an MMA fighter, I'm picking the caveman. Maybe, but you don't know if they have that freak strength going on because of the way that they're built different. You know That's
what I mean?
True, but I know the MMA fighter is going to just annihilate me in seconds.
True.
I might be able to eke out a victory with the caveman using my cunning
but
wits.
you might not be able to talk. Maybe, but you can't talk the caveman out of the aggression like you could an MMA fighter.
Well, that's not an option here. We're not like we're saying I have to fight one of them. Like we're not.
Well, but that's what they're talking about. Advanced, right? Like you can't out talk a bear either. If the bear wants to charge you, the bear's charging you regardless. You can't reason with it.
True, but this is an apples to apples comparison here.
Yes.
There's no talking them down, right? Let's assume the MMA fighter for some reason. I don't know what he did. Maybe I fucked his wife. Who knows? The point is he's going to fight me no matter what.
Yeah. Gotcha. I mean, look, it's just like this. I get what they were saying with the when you think you're advanced, that it doesn't mean much, right? Just because you think you're more advanced than something.
I get the comparison. I get the point that's being made. I just think the bear was a good example. It didn't need a second example. The bear was fine.
True. Yeah. I mean, or even like a chimpanzee, one of those type of things. Right?
Chimps are pretty strong. They're quite dangerous if they get they get angry. There's more antics and all that. There's a bit of a twist later on though, where it looks like the old prankster's coming to like tell Clark Kent stuff, but then when Clark goes with him to like the hideout, the big reveal is that it's actually the new prankster wearing a suit of the old prankster, and he's like, he takes off like a face mask, Mission Impossible style. It's like, aha, it's me, new meta-human prankster. And that's when he's got the kryptonite snake thing wrapped around Clark, where he's like, I need to wait for him to leave before I can turn gold to get out of this. And then I also have to like stop this robbery of a kryptonite vault that's happening by Intergang, upstairs. So he goes and does that. So I will say it's maybe a little messy towards the end, where it feels like there's a lot of things going on, and it doesn't necessarily resolve things too much, other than just, okay, we've dealt with this, and they're not going to keep trying to kill Perry right now, right? They'll if they get a chance, they'll do it. They mentioned they've got a trick cigar to kill him if need be, but they're not going to be like the active villains for at least the next few issues. But I think it's intentionally leaving them there so that, because I think Slott wants to come back to these two down the line. Yeah.
I also like that Superman with his gold powers makes a jail for Intergang out of the kryptonite they were trying to steal. That is funny.
Yeah. I mean, he has to skedaddle quite quickly afterwards, I assume. Yes. But he's, it's good. I had fun. I liked that, again, very TV show ending of like, these villains are still out there and they're going to be a problem later. But it wasn't as like well structured perhaps as a lot of the other issues of this have been that Slott's done. I still really enjoyed it. It was nice getting my next slice of this, and I like what they're teasing with some of the stuff, but maybe not as elegant as some of the rest of the series has been in terms of like structure and kind of build to the finish and whatnot. And I am kind of missing the more serialized what's going on in that island of kryptonite.
Like I miss what's going on there, to handle some of these other things. But yeah, it's a nice little break in that storytelling though too. So I like that Slott's being able to shift gears that way. Yeah, and Norton's art's solid enough. It's not blowing my socks off or anything, but it's detailed enough. It's there's some nice expressions. That panel you talked about earlier where the guy's like, "Wait, you left your friend in the sewer?" And Superman has to kind of just give this weird shrug because he's like, well, yeah, like it's like the expression on his face is what makes it funny, because he can't justify to this stranger why he put Clark Kent in a sewer, because he can't obviously just say, well, I'm actually just him. I didn't put anyone in a sewer. I'm not a dick. But he has to say that to cover his tracks. It's funny. So, pleasant chapter in the book. What are you giving Superman Unlimited, Matt? I'm going to give this a 7.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about the same. I'll agree with the solid 7. I think if I think it could have been like a 7.5 or an 8, with just maybe like a bit more of a definitive ending and maybe something that felt a bit more natural to get to the conclusion. But 7 out of 10. Still a good time. Wonder Woman issue 30, legacy number 830. This is Stephanie Williams writing with Jeffrey Spokes on the art, the second half of this two-part fill-in story. where all the Wonder Girls and a couple of the Amazons like Nubia are being like manipulated and corrupted by Strife, or I call her Strife. I mean, they keep calling her was it Esri?
Yeah, Eris, which is the Greek name for the goddess of. But yeah, it is Strife, right? That's how we were introduced to her, I believe. So from hence shall be called. I do like the moral of this story of where it goes. I just don't know if it was worth 2 issues. You know, like there's a lot of rehashing similar motives and things, but ultimately I like what Stephanie Williams is saying about doubt and what that means to be like attached to Diana, right? Because Diana is kind of this figure that is the end all be all for a lot of these characters. And if you have this doubt that you'll never add up to her instead of just being yourself, you're going to ultimately fail, right? So don't try to be Diana, try to be you, because you're unique. And so I love that. I just, over the course of the 2 issues, the constant fights and the arguing and them doing this type of stuff was a little bit much, so it's definitely in a weird spot.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't super hot in the last issue. It felt very fill-in to me, and I still think that way about this issue. It's I think it's like almost a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because I mean, I like what she's saying about the about the characters and like the fact that this is actually a strength, and the reason why it is corruptible is because they care about these things, and that makes them loving and so on. Like I'm fine with that. But I think the craft of these 2 issues is just a little bit dull, and I think it suffers because on the one hand, I think if you condensed it into 1 issue, it would maybe feel rushed, and it would feel like the villain wasn't that like imposing, but this already feels stretched out in some ways. So I think trying to flesh it out even more, you'd have to actually have more story to go along with this, because ultimately, like, one big fight started last issue, and that big fight's still going this issue until it's over. And it's not like there's a lot of interesting things going on in there, other than some of the statements being made.
If we had a little bit more, 1 or 2 issues more to kind of set up that they're upset with each other, and there's almost like this sense of the discord and the strife between them, and just Lizzie's presence there and what that means for Wonder Girl and the whole concept of Wonder Girl. I think this fight might have landed a little bit better, but you're right. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because it's almost like it's going halfway, but it needs to go a little bit more than half. But yeah, I liked all the interactions between them still. Like, I feel like Stephanie Williams has the voices down. That's all still consistent. I just wish the way that the story was told was handled differently.
Yeah, and they do thought bubbles in this issue where you sort of hear kind of the doubts before they say something. Particularly early on in the issue, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But the actual fighting is not particularly, and honestly, I thought it was a bit weird to me that Wonder Woman returns halfway through the issue and helps the fight and kind of like, and I get that obviously, she's the one who talks them all down and sort of explains why all these things are their strengths and that's what makes them good. I think the problem is that the whole premise of this 2-parter for me seemed to be like all them looking after Lizzie without Wonder Woman. So her showing back up before the story wrapped up. Like what I was expecting, I guess, was her showing up in the last couple of pages and being like, "Oh, was there any problems?" And then them all having the sort of the comedy beat of like, "Nah, she was a dream. It was fine. Nothing happened."
Yeah, the sitcom babysitting episode where you just got everything back together before Mom and Dad walk in. Yeah, her presence there too, because that was the whole point of it, so she could go get her mind off of these type of things. But Strife has other plans. I do like the way that that Strife or Eris brings like the doubts to life with these like black cloud figures of them. So like there's that page where they're the doubts are talking to them, and like there's the one of the different 2 Amazons. I'm drawing a blank on their names, But they're saying just a scribe, never a warrior. They only tolerate you out of pity. So they're the dark thoughts, right, are given form, and you can't listen to those thoughts, right? You have to know your worth. So I thought that was a fun way to bring those to life.
Yeah, it's like manifestation. So there's almost like a hey, they're going to fight duplicates of themselves kind of thing, which it's fine, but it's obviously not that new from comic book. We've done a lot of like doppelgangers fighting or heroes fighting heroes or whatever. So it's like I kind of like some of the things that it's touching on, but I was never into how the story was being told or got that invested in it because there wasn't really that much here really in the grand scheme of things. I think it's I'm just glad it's over, and I'm glad we're back to the regular run next issue.
And again, this was an issue from last time too. Spokes and some of the faces, I feel like you just changed the hair on them, and that's it. There's a page at the very end when it's the 3 Wonder Girls, and they're all looking. It's from Lizzie's perspective, and I swear all Spokes did was change the hair color and style. Those are all 3 of the same faces, right? So like that's a bit of an issue when it comes to the art, but I think that's just Spoke style. So I guess it ultimately comes down to taste, because like the breakdowns are fine. I just some of the fine tuning again, but we say this with Spokes every time we've had a book that he draws. So
yeah. I think making it a bit more focused as well. I think having a couple of extra Amazons just murkied the water. See if it was just the 3 Wonder Girls, maybe, or and have them like voice some of their like insecurities about I don't deserve this because I'm from a different tribe. I don't deserve this because I'm not really an Amazon or whatever. Like all these like fears that were kind of bubbling up. Like maybe there's something to that. It'd have been nice if they were seeded before we did this story, and it would have been nice if to just be a bit more focused.
Yeah, and then having Nubia there almost instead of Diana, she comes in and is like, guys, what are you doing? You all know what you're about. Diana wouldn't have chosen you to take care of the baby if she didn't, believe in you fully. That almost would have been a better kind of flip around than Diana coming in and saving the day. So,
and there's some teases towards the end with Strife planting a seed and say, because that was like her whole goal was to seal some of these things, and she only got one, but that'll be enough. And it's basically teasing the Wonder War that's coming, and she says a couple of ominous things about, oh, you've not seen the whole picture. I know this girl's going to bring the end of everything or something like that. I can't remember what the exact line is, but so obviously there's a couple of things in there that she's like Williams is teasing on behalf of King for where this run's going. Which I appreciate, but ultimately I'm never going to think that fondly of these 2 issues. So that's what it is. Just kind of getting through it, and that's about it. All right, what are you giving Wonder Woman, Matt?
I'll give this a 6.5.
I will go. I'll go a point lower. I'll say 5.5.
All right.
I just, it was a little bit of a chore reading it, if I'm honest. I'll be glad to be back to the regular Wonder Woman next time. All right, Nightwing 135, Legacy number 322, Dan Waters writing with Dexter Soy returning on art to finish off the arc. Which makes me a little bit sad that we got 2 issues without him in the middle of this big, last part of the Cirque du Sin story, because it was like, oh man, it's great to have him back, but it's a shame that there's now this inconsistency towards the end. But yeah, this is the payoff to what we've been doing with the Cirque du Sin. The cliffhanger last time was the Titan's Tower coming down with Nightwing Prime. In there, get my primes cross-wired.
He did.
And Babs is running to try and save him. Martian Manhunter saying it's useless. That building's going to crush you. You're a human. And then the big reveal is that Nightwing Prime is woken up and catches the building. So it's like he realizes that Nightwings went off to the Cirque du Sin, and Babs is like, how do you know that? And he's like, you forget, I'm also a child of Gotham. I hear the music. And he just walks off into the mystical tent to go to the Cirque du Sin, which I thought was a really cool little moment, actually.
The way that Soy draws that with him walking away like cool guy, right? Like cool guys don't look at explosions. And then how the white tent just appears, and he's like, and I'm going to follow where it leads. And you're just like, oh my God. All right. I'm feeling hopeful now, because I wasn't feeling hopeful. I was like, oh man, the Zani's got dick. This is a horror story. It might not have a good ending. And when I say good, I don't mean fulfilling. I mean like a happy ending. Like something bad's gonna happen, right? And this only sealed that, right? Where it's like he's walking to his doom. It feels like into this white tent. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and the kids are all thanking Nightwing because Nightwing's injured the Zanny with the ball from last issue, of course.
And Olivia's headless body waking up the Zani. That gave me a good chuckle. I don't know if I was supposed to, but it's a funny image.
Yeah, but he gets all the kids back, and he's like, "Hey, we're all going to get back home. I'm going to take you there, I promise." And Nightwing basically realizes, well, this place is all based on imagination, so if I just believe there's an exit, he says, "Oh, there's a ladder through here that'll take us back to the regular world." And sure enough, there's a big spotlight with a ladder coming down once they go behind the curtain, and he's like, "Damn it, I should have wished for a smaller ladder," because it's this really tall ladder going all the way up, which I thought was good fun. So he's got the kids all climbing up, and then he looks down the ladder as they're climbing up, because he's at the bottom to protect the kids, and he looks down, and the Zanny looks like he's got like 6 arms as he's like crawling up like a big spider up the
he's
ladder.
like a spider, because all the eyes, I was like, what is going on? I was like, oh, he's looking like a tarantula, right? This is big. And I was like, oh, that makes him even worse, man. He's like a nightmare fuel creature now.
Yeah, he's super creepy, and then the big save, of course, as he's grabbing Nightwing's leg, is in comes flying Nightwing Prime, who's in here now, and takes on the Zanny. And the big thing, we've been comparing the Zanny to these mythical like horror characters and stuff like that, and this definitely felt like he's like, hey, those kids have all been in here now. They've all been tainted with my evil, which means they'll always remember, and that will always be my doorway back. Even if I'm gone for a while, like I will always have a path back because those kids remember this place.
Yeah. It's very Freddy Krueger, right? Because that's Freddy's plan in Freddy v. Jason. You got to make him scared again.
It's later Freddy, which is not what I would say is like proper Freddy, but yeah, technically later Nightmare movies did apply that logic a little bit, but that was a very specifically Freddy vs. Jason thing, which I wouldn't hold up as a shining example of the best of Freddy Krueger.
No, but that's what I thought of, was that it's like, oh no, they will always be afraid of the Zani, right? And then that is my doorway back. So like, you might defeat me now, Nightwing, but I'll be back whenever, and no one's safe. Yeah, and I was just like, oh man, that's dark.
But then Nightwing Prime says, actually, no. What if someone's here to stop you? And technically, Nightwing Prime's powers are all based on imagination, because it was an imp that gave him these powers. Yeah. So he's like, what if there's someone here stopping you from leaving? And Nightwing Prime basically just accepts that he's staying in here as the guardian to keep the Zanny at bay. Yep. So, Dick's obviously sad about this. Dick's really, when he gets outside and they're back in the real world, he's like, oh, I need to go back for Prime. And the entrance just disappears, like it just vanishes. I will say though, I love the art. Like when Nightwing Prime's saying this, when he's like, "Oh, I'll just stay here and stop you because that's what superheroes do," and you see his like eyes lighting up, the look of fear in the Zanny's face in that last panel with all the eyes on his head, and like he looks like, oh no, this is a horrible idea from his perspective.
I've been outthought by a child, which I do like, because it does come down to that. Superheroes are cooler than circuses, right? I can do this all day. So I do. And he's, it's the imagination of a child is that, breaks through the horror, which I do like that message.
And
right?
Superheroes are better than circuses. I do fully endorse that sentiment. So yeah, Dick wants to like find a way back, and he wants to like figure it out, even though the doors disappeared. But then all the kids are like, hey, Nightwing, look at the city. And he turns around and like all the buildings are toppled over, and like kids are crying, and Dick, and like this is again the art choice here is really smart, is that his face is in full shadow, so it's kind of this dark moment for him, but he kind of has to accept that no, I need to get these kids home, I need to help the city, I can't devote the time right now to try and going back to the Cirque du Soleil to save Nightwing Prime. He has to accept that he's left him behind. It's a really good moment. It really works, and no one blames him, because he has to go and deal with all this stuff. And then we see like Superman and Wonder Woman are around helping get the buildings up and whatnot. Even the gangs are helping with like people who have been displaced. So that's really nice, and feels like they've been inspired by Nightwing along the way, which is cool.
I seen that come back through, especially with the Teddies, because that's where Nightwing Prime, that's who he was associated with. So to see them come through, and like Nightwing has left an imprint even with these gangs here, so when he talks about his friends, it's not just the Justice League, it's also these gangs of Bloodhaven taking it on the side of the Angels for once.
Yeah. And there's this really cool ending where, so one of the kids who disappeared was Maggie Sawyer's girlfriend's kid. And Nightwing shows up to her bedroom because she's got the buzzer. She stole the buzzer from Maggie, the Nightwing, like, pager, or whatever you want to call it. And he's like, "Hey, I don't think your mom's girlfriend's going to be too happy that you've nabbed that." And she's like, "She'll be fine." She's like desperate to like make me think I'm a friend, so she'll be really easy going on me.
She's dating my mom, so she wants to be my friend, which is the funniest thing. Right, that the kid has figured that out. It's like, I can do whatever I want. Yeah,
she's super self-aware, which is funny. But I love this ending, which is like, hey, like, all of us kids, we used to talk about it in school, like before any of this happened, that we were all having nightmares of this same scary person, the Zanny. We all seen him in our dreams, and he was creepy, and it always felt like he was coming for us, and then obviously that built up to it actually happening. And they're still having these nightmares or these dreams, but they've changed because there's someone else in there now. And she basically tells Nightwing, gives him some closure that Nightwing Prime is in there defending the kids. Like, like if these dreams they're having are actually connecting to the Cirque du Sin, they're actually getting a window into like what's really happening there. And she flat out says, "Yeah, Nightwing Prime told me to give you a message and to say that he's all right and he's keeping the monster at bay." And I was like, I actually love that Nightwing's hearing this from one of the kids who's still having these dreams. Yeah. And it's this idea that this fight is like still going on. Like this is a never-ending fight that's going on in this other dimension, this other realm, and the children of Bloodhaven are seeing glimpses of it in their sleep. I love how this still fits in with the ethereal, like, otherworldly threat that the Zanny is this entire time. Really, really cool.
And I like that she says, yeah, but now there's a superhero in our dreams too. And just him standing over this fallen Zanny with her looking up at him. Like it is. And it's one of those things that I've talked about a ton where that like Nightwing, Dick Grayson is like the crux of the DCU. And yes, he is, Batman's son, but he's also, he looks up to Superman. And so it's just the influence that Superman has, right? That's what Nightwing Prime represents here. And he takes his name from Superman. That there's this Superman analog type character that he got to inspire, and that's the one. That's the superhero, right? In the grand scheme of things, the first superhero, Superman, right? So, and that's who's in the dream, and it's coming through, and that's who's fighting the monster and keep the monster at bay. I really liked all that. Like, it's not quite meta storytelling, but it's up there for me. Those are the pieces that I was getting from it. But yeah,
I mean, I think you're warping that a little bit to feed into your Superman bias, Matt. If I'm being just the way you sort of snake that theory around a certain lens, but I don't disagree in essence with what you're saying. I think for me the way I would phrase it, it's more like the idea of like Superman's powers is the sort of the basic idea of what a superhero is. It's the first one you think of. So this idea of like the idea of a superhero is protecting them in their dreams, because a child is what we'd think up of a superhero, and that superhero being more like Superman makes a lot of sense. Like, so I think there's something there, for sure. So no, very good. So there's a final page though, there's a little epilogue teasing where we're going next in this run, which is neat. And we have a new mayor in the city, Mayor Bissoni. Is that how I'm saying that right?
Close enough. Bissoni, I guess.
Bissoni, yeah.
Yeah.
The G's definitely silent though, right?
Yeah, but it's like a soft G, like so it gives the nya sound. So that's why I would say Bissoni.
So, like, I don't speak Italian, all right?
Yeah,
I don't do soft G's. Well, I guess I do. I do like an ing, but I guess that's a type of soft G. But the soft G in front of a letter, I don't know how I'm doing that. Anyway, so yeah, it's basically just some narration saying, his father was this thug who would like break people's bones and reset them so they could be broken again, so that whoever was working under him would like fall to his will. He was a cruel man. And then, this guy, Bissonier is going to do that to the city. He sees the city as the body that needs to be broken and put back together in his image to reset the bones, as he puts it. And the art here shows that his big window has got a big crack in it that looks suspiciously like the Nightwing logo, just to give us a bit of a final moment to end on.
I also like that he says, his father was a cruel man. Once he tried to break a few of Bernard's bones, but the teenager beat him so hard with a tire iron that his lung collapsed. So he's taken that fury and cruelty that he's learned from his dad, and now it looks like he's gonna apply it to Nightwing.
Yeah, he's run with it. Part of me wants to dock this slightly and say it feels a little tacked on at the end of this, because it's just kind of a standalone page with like very little build up. However, looking at it, I'm thinking, no, it kind of fits in with the idea of him looking out the window and seeing that, half the city's been broken. It does kind of fit in that sense. So I'm like, okay, I kind of get what it's doing. It's just the narration of who this guy is just feels out of nowhere at the end, because it doesn't really fit with anything we've been doing up until this point. So it's a minor quibble. But
because I thought the same thing, because we had been pretty consistent with the narration of the Zani and all this other stuff, and now there's this omnipotent, third person narrator talking about the new mayor. I don't know, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a stylistic shift, but I liked what it had to say. Wherever that narrator, whoever that is, the idea of breaking bones to reset them, to break them again, you're just like, that is sick.
Yeah, and it's a very different threat to what we've just been doing for the last couple of arcs, so that's nice as well, to freshen things up. But no, I like the conclusion here to the Cirque du Sin stuff, especially this idea of Nightwing hearing from one of the children that Nightwing Prime is okay, because now he's in the dreams fighting the Zani that they're all having, so they don't feel as scared as they used to, because he's in there protecting them. There's something really sweet, but it fits into the ethereal kind of unknown element of the Cirque du Sin and the Zani and all that. So I really like that ending. All right, you want to rate it then?
Yeah. I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
I'm going with a straight 9.
Oh, nice.
Might even have been higher if I didn't have that quibble about the last page. I mean, it's a good page. It just feels a little bit tacked on to everything else. So there you go. That's Nightwing. End of Life, issue 1, Kyle Stark's writing with Steve Pugh on the art. So this is our next issue 1 from Vertigo. And this is following a criminal who's pissed off the organized crime sort of like system that he works in, because it's basically a bunch of people who all have like animal code names, and he has kind of made a bit of a boo-boo by helping a group steal from one of them, which technically means that he's betrayed them, and now there's like a almost John Wick-esque, like all the hitmen in the country have got a contract for your head now kind of story. That's what it's doing. That's the basic premise. So obviously this is a completely fresh thing. This is not based on a DC character or anything like that. This is a completely just new thing. Matt, what was your vibe or your feeling for End of Life?
This is weird. I don't know if you ever went back and read more of Peacemaker Tries Hard, which is that team
I did not
that did this. Yeah, so I did, and it's this thing. I like the story, so I just want to get that out there. However, the edgelord kind of humor that is coming through this, through Starks, which I feel is just his style, not a fan of the delivery. So it's a very mixed thing here, because the story of the guy that screwed up, who's got this kind of, he was reminding me of any Ryan Reynolds character in any movie, right? This fast talking kind of an idiot, got himself in over his water. He has to go home and deal with like his dad and all those issues while being chased by this group that he screwed over by accident. I like all that type of stuff. A lot of the dialogue and a lot of the set dressing with where I just was like, this is cringe inducing, so it's definitely a weird one.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the humor either. I found I found it to be kind of crass. There's right at the very end, there's like a sort of villain that's introduced who basically starts threatening to rape a grandmother, and it's like just super like edgy and dark, and it just feels very forced. There's even, but I think this is the other problem, though, is the humor, and this is part of the humor is part of the reason for this, but I don't think it's the only reason.
Yep.
Is that I find the main character very unlikable, and yes. I don't really find myself rooting for him. And if it feels like he's happy to kill a bunch of innocent guards to a vault at the start of the issue, so it's like, okay, so he's not a good person. He's not doing any of this for good reasons, and I find him annoying from his sense of humor. So I don't know. I was like, I don't really like him very much. And to be honest, I don't think the story is all that unique or original either, because ultimately, no, like I say, it's a little bit John Wicky with the hitmen all coming after him. But the idea that he goes back to his dad and his dad hates his guts and they've not seen each other in a long time, it feels like we're doing a lot of tropes that I've seen in a number of different types of action movies or whatever. Right.
This was Peacemaker, right? That first part, him going back to his dad and his dad's like, you know what you did. Type stuff. That was Christopher Smith on the show, so these are things that are well tread, so if you're gonna tread that, make it interesting and make it your own. And I just feel like what Kyle Starks finds interesting in his own isn't something that I'm interested in.
Because on the very first page, he's talking to this lady who also works at the thing, right, the organization, and she's like, why would I help you? You tried to have sex with my sister. And he's like, hey, she had that nice dress on. And she's like, yeah, and you were my guest at her wedding. And I'm like, I can see that, I can see what they're going for here, right? To try and make it, they want him to be the lovable rogue who's up to all these no good things, but it's just not clicking. He's coming off a lot more of a dickhead, to be honest.
If they're trying to make us root for the menagerie, then mission accomplished. Because, I want to know who all these animal people are, and how they're going to take him out by the end of this issue.
It's like they took the worst qualities of Constantine and the edgy humor of, I don't know, it's weird.
So when The Boys came out, I went back and tried to read one of the comics, and it's very much of this. This is like a Garth Ennis shock value, and that stuff just doesn't hit for me. The reason why I feel like The Boys TV show has connected with so many people is it touches on that, but it doesn't make it its full thing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've not read a lot of Garth Ennis. I will say what I did read of Preacher was pretty good still. It was much better than this. So I'm not sure if I'm necessarily going to side with the comparison 100% there, but because you can have an edgy attitude and do stuff if there's if it feels like there's a point to it, but there's nothing in this that feels like it's I just don't really see what the point is yet, or feel the purpose of it, because I like I said, it feels like it's going through a bunch of tropes, and it's like, oh, they wear animal masks and they have animal code names, and he realizes they're Robin from the Raven, which is one of the characters, and then the lady he's talking to on the phone freaks out and is like, oh, you idiot, you're going to be menagerie enemy number one now, because so he gets a bus to where his dad lives, and we get some scenes with his dad and all the rest of it. The plot that sets up future stuff is that when he arrives in town, he stops two thieves from robbing the store. Which I guess is meant to be it's maybe the likable part of his character is that he intervenes here. And then all the stuff with the dad happens, where the dad even says he wants to kill him. There's some allusions to his backstory where he had a childhood friend here who's now the hospice nurse for his dad because his dad's dying of cancer. And then at the very end of the issue, it reveals that the two goons that he beat up at the gas station have a gang leader who's pissed that someone interfered with their turf. So that's the villain that's going to maybe be a problem next issue.
So when he gets to his hometown, which is called Pluto, there was a amusement park there that was based off the comic strip. And apparently this comic strip creator got canceled for being a white supremacist type, and is now, it seems like, is leading all these goons in this town. And that was where the other stuff was we're putting a hat on a hat here, so yeah, but there were parts that I did genuinely enjoy, with the action and whatnot. I felt like that was well paced, and I feel like Pugh's art is really solid. It's very hard to care about the story at this point.
Yeah, I don't mind the premise of like the crazy supremacist in the theme park is the villain. Like that's fine to me as long, but it's just all of the dialogue and like I don't like the characters very much. Like maybe because the dad doesn't seem very likable either. Maybe the childhood friend seems like the most normal human being out of everyone when she shows up, but you only get like a page or two of her. You don't get much to go on really. I just like. Obviously, there's a fine line, and there is a great skill in writing an anti-hero or a character who, isn't like obviously likable, but is still fun to read or watch, and you can sort of root for them anyway. I really wasn't getting that from this. I actively found myself like disliking this character and disliking what I was reading in this as I was going.
Yeah.
So. I think it's quite obvious that neither one of us has any interest in reading any more of this.
No, I'm all right. I even remember when it got announced, we were going through and we're like, that one might be okay, but I'm not that excited for it. And so now I'm a little bit worried through 2 of these new Vertigo books. Bleeding Hearts was fine.
Matt, I don't see why you should feel worried though, because they're all just completely different books by completely different people. There's no reason to think
true.
This doesn't mean anything for the 3rd or 4th or 5th Vertigo book announced.
Yes, but also now I'm 0 for 2. I feel like, and I'm just kind of like I'm dreading now when it's coming to read. Now, that said, the next one that's coming out is that Ezra Kane book by that Texas Blood, which I've enjoyed that team, so I'm a less hesitant.
It's just,
but yeah,
it's just happenstance and unfortunate that the first 2 that came out were both like. I mean, Bleeding Hearts was okay. It was fine. Like it wasn't a bad book. I just didn't like it that much. This I actually dislike, and obviously the art's pretty good. Like Steve Pugh is a good artist, right? Let's get that out of the way because the expressions are good. When there's not too much dialogue and it's allowed to just be visual, it works better than it otherwise would. But there's a lot of detail. I can't really fault that, right? Pugh's very good at the facial expressions and the performances and all that stuff. So good on that. But do not like the writing here.
Yes.
So
I was like the action sequence in the convenience store, right in the gas station, where he takes the guy and twists the wrist and whatever. Like all of that, the way that those panels come about, everything is very dynamic and stuff. So like you said, when it's not filled with the dialogue that I hate, it was making me cringe.
Yeah.
Like it's great. Like I feel like a silent issue would be awesome,
Yeah.
So
yeah. Also, with these Vertigo issue ones being a little bit longer, having 10 extra pages or whatever it is, when I wasn't liking this one, that 10 extra pages, really, I felt it. Like I was like, oh man, this still isn't over. I'm still reading this. Oh no. But so a bit of a dud for me. Did not like this character, did not like the dialogue. And the story is just kind of whatever. Like the actual like content of what the story is just kind of a bit generic to me. And then which would be fine if I was enjoying the characters and like everything else about it, but the art is good. So I mean, if that's worthwhile for you, then maybe. And I assume some people do like this guy's writing, but I did not jive with this at all.
Yeah.
Try
so far,
hard.
The 2 things that I've read, yes.
Try hard's the phrase I would use for it. Yes.
The 2 things I've read from him now, I just have not connected. So. Yeah.
Yep. I get why he was given Peacemaker though. Like I get why in theory that would be a good fit. Although I still think that, like, I still don't think it would work for me. But I get why some people would click with that combination. So anyway, what are you giving End of Life issue 1?
I'm gonna give this a 4.5.
Yeah, I'm going with a straight 4, baby. Not for me, but hey. That's 2 Vertigo books down and 2 that we have no interest in continuing. But hey, I'm sure 1 or 2 of them will hit. That's all I need. Give me 1 or 2 that I'm really excited to read, and we'll be fine. But yeah, so cool. All right. So on Patreon, you can make myself read a book every month at one of the higher tiers, or in this case, someone's also making Matt read a book. And we're looking at Green Arrow issue 24 here, which is the end of the first arc of the story. And yeah, I mean, the fight itself was obviously the last issue, so this is almost all like some comic arcs are a bit guilty of like wrapping up their big final fight of the entire arc like 2 pages before the end of the last issue, so you get like the quickest like epilogue that feels rushed. I do appreciate this giving a full issue to like, okay, after the fight, what's the fallout? Yeah, it's nice breathing room. That's a good way of putting it.
I like it. It's definitely the denouement, right? Like in film, when you're coming down and you're getting these end caps, and I feel like these characters, especially what's his name, the main kid that we start on, who started all of this, going back and seeing him talking to his mom's grave, right? It adds a bit of that pathos to him that we already were kind of feeling, right? But the fact that he's talking to the grave and going through all of these emotions, and we know where that leads to him to killing at least 2 people, I think, and trying to kill some multiple others. Like, we see his desperation at play here. Yeah,
I think my favorite part of that opening scene is when he's talking to his mother's grave. He openly admits that you would hate what I'm doing. I know you wouldn't approve of what I'm doing. I like that self-awareness of him, like where he like understands that it's not this like, oh, I'm the righteous good guy here, and that it's all like hunky-dory. No, there's shades of grey to this. And then the first scene of the main part of the timeline is that Oliver's at the prison to see him, and he's not really enthusiastic about it, but the guard's like, hey, it's better than sitting in your cell, to take the 10 minutes and sit out here.
So he doesn't know Ollie's Green Arrow. So Ollie was just someone that was on his hit list, right?
Yes.
But the way this plays out when he looks over and is like, oh, shit. And there's the explicitives. And Ollie's on the bottom panel smiling on the other side of the window. That gave me such a chuckle. Like, hey, friend. I know you're trying to kill me, but I'm here to say hi. And it just kind of leans into the doofus version of Ollie Queen, which I do appreciate.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this douchebag. And so, like basically Oliver, the guy doesn't want to let him speak very much, but Oliver's like, look, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to start a program to keep the environment safer and rebuild housing, and it's all going to be named after your mother. He holds the bit of paper up for him to see, and like obviously he's like, this is not going to bring her back. This is not going to make up for everything that was done. Or anything, but it's something, and that kind of like, it mirrors what he was saying at the grave before. Is like, hey, this isn't like a perfect solution, but I need to do something. So when he ultimately gets up and leaves, he's like, you're right, but it is something. Like, it's not going to achieve all these things that are impossible, but it will. It's a start. So it's Oliver trying to do what he can, and he chooses, the other guy chooses to end the conversation and go back to his cell. He's like, we're done with this. So it's kind of this like quiet, bitter like walk away at the end where they've reached some form of peace and understanding, even if it's not a happy one, because they will never be happy. This guy's always going to be angry because of what happened to his mother. But
but I like too that in that beginning part, he's talking about lilies, and lilies represent like renewal and rebirth, right? And so what Ollie wants to do is that he's going to bulldoze all of Freshwater and clean it up, right? Take all the stuff that made everybody sick and rebuild. So it also hits with that theme of rebirth and renewal, and doing it in the mom's name as well, so it's just, he's actually making it right? Because Ollie put his name on this thing. That's how he ended up on the list. He wasn't paying attention, so his shared guilt in that and him trying to make it right does show this guy like, okay, well, maybe there is good in what we did.
Yeah. And then Detective Lady shows up. We found out her name's Lena, by the way, at the end of this scene. So I finally have a first name to use for her.
It's a good name too. Lena Benitez has like a rhythm to it.
Lena Benitez, yeah. And somehow, I mean, maybe she does secretly, maybe she's figured it out and she's just pretending. But I'm like, how could you not see that goatee and like immediately go, oh, you're Green Arrow?
You know, I was hoping that she had her dog with her, and the dog jumped up on him. And it's like, oh, he usually doesn't do that to people he doesn't know. Wink, you know, like that kind of stuff. Because it always cracks me up when these characters are within range for a good period of time with our heroes and still can't put it together.
Yeah,
who they are. So it's a bit funny.
And in fact, even when he goes on his little rant here, when she's questioning why he didn't press charges of the guy that tried to kill him, you know, he goes on a rant about, oh, well, I'm supposed to put him down because he's less fortunate than me and whatever. And she even makes the point of saying, you know, you sound like someone else I've spoken to recently. So I don't know if that's her hinting that she has maybe figured it out or not. I'm actually unclear. I hope she has. It would make more sense to me if she's figured it out than not, to be honest. But yeah.
Well, because the way that he goes, oh, and she's like, yeah, good guy. Lots of opinions, though. That feels pointed, right? That feels like she's sticking it in a little bit.
A little bit. He does get a bit flirty here, even though he's still with Dinah, I want to point out. But he says her name's really nice, and she does the whole tuck the hair behind the ear, smile, moment.
Shucks.
Yeah. So yes, he's like, I'll give you a call, and she's like, yeah, you do that, and she stands in her power stance. But yeah, so he's like going to have dinner with Dinah and Connor and so on.
They're making chili. Following the recipe.
Yeah. But he wants to make a stop on the way. He goes to Horton Chemicals to basically threaten the CEO into doing some new things, you know, some clean energies, protecting people, also basically paying the medical bills, I assume, of everyone affected from before, and is like, yeah, if you don't do it, you know what will happen. So he never actually says I'll kill you, but there's an implication.
I mean, he has the arrow, you know, pointed at him, and then he sticks it in the ground next to his head, you know. Yeah. So the implications. The implication.
And you know, sets fire to the sign outside the billboard for Horton Chemicals.
It's metal. Yeah. It's metal as hell.
So yeah, and then the book just ends with Oliver arriving home for the big dinner, the giant pot of chilies there. So yeah, this was definitely a decompression issue. This was this like wrap up things, and it basically consisted of 3 important conversations. I mean, yeah, there's the phone call to Dinah, but that's mostly just a little bit of like, here, your normal life's waiting for you. The 3 conversations were Oliver and then the Clearwater guy, Oliver and Detective Lady, and Oliver and CEO, and like all 3 of them are just wrapping up thematically what we were doing with this arc. And it was nice. It was nice. The art's still great, of course, from Montos.
Montos. And I like the stuff in the prison too, because like the Montos stuff works really good with shadows and the way that he plays with the colors, but everything in there has like that fluorescent style lighting, so everything's blown up and it still looks good, right? So it's Montos hitting the fine details on everything. The smile on Ollie's face as he's sitting in that, you know, behind the glass, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, symbolically, like the book's been obviously mostly set at night, shadowy rooms, that kind of thing. All this stuff in the prison is all brightly lit, like you said. It feels like it's almost symbolic for, we're at the end of the story where things are more clear now, and you know, we're reflecting and we're reaching some conclusions. So it's I mean, I think it's a really solid epilogue issue, and I'm glad they took the time to do it because it let everything breathe, and it feels like maybe it teases a couple things of where we're going, but for the most part, it just feels like it's wrapping this up. So. I'm excited to see what the next arc brings. Me too. From this team.
Because I remember hearing about this one as it was playing out, and the whole freshwater killer and Ollie and environmentalism type stuff. I don't know what's next. Like, I haven't heard anything.
No idea.
Like, I haven't checked. So yeah, going into the kind of blind is exciting.
Yeah. So no, good stuff. Art's phenomenal as always, and feel like a nice little capper to the arc. So, and I like that I think the other reason why I like that it gave it this time to breathe is because the villain, quote unquote, is a sympathetic person. So we don't just want to slap handcuffs on him, he's done, like send him off. Like punish him.
Yeah.
No, we care about what happened to him. He deserves some form of justice as well.
Yeah, he was definitely the antagonist while not being evil.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, good stuff. What are you giving Green Arrow, Matt?
Man, this issue would the art's all good. 9 too high. Yeah, I think 9's a bit too high, so I'll give it 8.5.
I think I agree with that actually. 8.5. I think is just right for this. I think, and it's not a fault of the issue because I don't see where you would fit it in. But I'm like, more like, moody action would be good. And you get a little bit when he goes after the CEO, but like, I mean, where else would you put it? It wouldn't fit anywhere else in this issue. So, yeah. Unless like he has to go kill the turkey that they're going to have for dinner or something.
Right.
You have to get stuck in the turkey sequence.
Doing a sequence like that while he's picking up the things in the recipe for the chili, because they made it wrong, I think that would be funny.
That'd be funny. I did like the joke that Dinah keeps like putting down the amounts, like because he's like, put in 3 tablespoons, and she's like 2 tablespoons, and one of this, just half a tablespoon of that. Like she keeps downplaying, like it's Oliver overdoes it every single time.
Yes.
So she's like,
but
just
they
censoring
all love
it.
this chili. I thought, let follow the recipe, man. That's what you like. It's not gonna taste. But it turns out that she doesn't like it because it's too seasoned, and she can't deal with it. So that's why she's having Connor make it differently.
Look, her screaming voice is very important, okay? She has to maintain those vocal cords.
True, but you would think you would want some like chili powder, cayenne powder in there to help clear those out. You know what I mean? So...
Yeah, 1 tablespoon instead of 2.
Yeah, good stuff, man. It just... it's crazy that Green Arrow gets these runs like this, right? That they alternate so much. Because just the point that we've been doing the show... We had the Rebirth stuff, which we enjoyed. Yeah,
the Percy run's great. This run's very good. Yeah.
So, it just goes back and forth. So, very, very excited to see where it goes.
All right, the other Patreon book I'll be talking about today is Gideon Falls issue 11. And oh boy, so the end of the last issue was the like both characters go through like the door on either side, like on one in the city version of Gideon Falls, one in the town version of Gideon Falls, and the final page was like them looking at each other in this red void, and like the priest is like, "Who the hell are you?" So this issue really doesn't necessarily answer, although definitely teases potential answers to a few things. So the priest says, "Daniel?" ? As if like, are you the kid that went missing? And that was something that I was thinking, is he the kid that went missing? And Norton's reaction to that is quite interesting, because he sort of stops, he sort of like, he's a little confused, he's like, Daniel, and then he says, the priest like says the full name, are you Daniel Sutton? And he's like, Daniel Sutton? That name it. And then he stops and says, no, I'm Norton Sinclair. But it almost sounds like he was about to say like, that name sounds familiar, or that name means something, or it's ringing a bell for some reason. And then just as that's happening, there's a 2-page spread where this other character comes out of a black door in this red void and says, no, you're not, boy, I am. And this seems to be the character from the past who was the first serial killer in Gideon Falls, I assume, right? Because he's got an old-timey mustache and whatever. And then he's like, well, I was Norton Sinclair. Maybe I'm not anymore. And like Norton turns to the priest and says, do you know that man? And he's like, I think maybe he says, I think I know that man. And he's like, yeah, I think maybe you do. And there's like a series of 2-page spreads here where it's like, I don't know, it's like he's been inside the barn building something, this big kind of almost Tesla looking thing, and like the priest is like, what in the world? And the original Norton Sinclair is like, see it for yourself, but it's more like worlds, really, right? And he's kind of like, turning this big electrical switch on. He's like, oh, it's working finally, I've been building this for so long, it's finally going to happen. And then the next page, and there's a lot of 2-page layouts here, is this big 2-page spread where all these panels are behind this old-timey Norton Sinclair, and he says, "Behold his many kingdoms," right? So there's some sort of like entity that he's worshipping, probably the scary face that we've seen in the barn before. But in all these panels, what it looks like we're seeing is like 100 different versions of Gideon Falls. It looks like we're doing, you know, alternate realities kind of thing. Like, there's one that's like old-timey, there's one that's got flying cars, there's one that looks like it's in England because there's a like a Union Jack on a bus, there's one that's got a Zeppelin, there's one that's got like, I'll basically describe it as like They Live style advertising, where there's just big like text saying Gideon Falls is watching you, like Big Brother type stuff. So it's just different types of Gideon Falls. And you're like, okay, so this explains the two very different Gideon Falls that we've been seeing throughout the book then. They're just two different dimensions. But it's like, okay, so what exactly... Yeah, you know, my brain's starting trying to put this together, and it's like, this is a big lore issue, this. And then the old man, Norton Sinclair, is like, but there was something else here, like in this void, something between us all. Something from between the worlds, and then out from his back, a big insect basically like climbs out of him, and looks super like scary, and it's actually the head of like the old Norton Sinclair, who's kind of underneath this giant like cockroach looking thing, where the mouth starts to go red at the sides, and it looks like the scary face we've been seeing in the barn all this time. Like every time we've seen in the shadows, and there's been these like two eyes and the big red smile. And the red eyes. And then he finally says, "It's time, become my doorway boy." And it's like, okay, so let's assume that young Norton here was Daniel. And Daniel was taken into the barn but got spat out on this other version of Gideon Falls, where he, you know, lost his memory, presumably, and has been there since, and obsessed with the barn and building the door. Was he chosen by this old serial killer Norton Sinclair to do this? By the entity that he worships, you know, the entity in the barn. And now, like, because like all the worlds are connecting through the barn, maybe this thing's getting more powerful and doing whatever. So, you know, wild stuff. But when he says this, you get this big creepy 2-page spread of just his face. Super nightmare fuel stuff. Really, really good. And they are. When he says, "Become my doorway boy," the priest steps in front of Norton and says, "No." And he's like, "I see you, old man. I know who you are, faller of trees." I don't know what that means. Faller of trees? I assume he doesn't just mean he's a lumberjack. Like what's he getting at?
No, but if what the trees represent,
yeah,
like, it's like the world tree, right? You're the destroyer of worlds. You're the feller of trees.
Yeah. Creepy. And then, like, you know, this reality they're in inside the Black Barn starts, like, falling away in panels. Like, it's all, like, coming apart. And the priest looks like he gets stabbed or something. Like, you know, there's, like, a sort of, like, squish kind of, like, effect, and we don't see it. We only see him from behind. And then we see, like, from the front, it looks like a big slash going up his, like, chest. He's not dead or anything. He's, like, you know, he's, like, swearing, and he looks scared by it. All the art here is super creepy. Like the panel of like him like in the foreground, and you just see the face in the darkness like in the background is like super cool. But they start running away, and like I said, all of the reality around them starts falling away into little panels, as if like everything's just like reality's disintegrating. And then there's 2 pages of just white, and I'm like, oh, you cheap bastards! This is a couple of easy pages to draw, just 2 pages of white. And I actually kind of guessed what was about to happen. Like, I guessed what the ending cliffhanger was going to be of this issue, because it just seemed like the obvious thing to do after everything we'd just done. Norton opens his eyes, he wakes up, and he's in small town Gideon Falls with the sheriff, who walks up to him and says, "Daniel, is that you?" And he just sort of like goes, where am I? He doesn't give her an answer, right? So maybe it is Daniel. Maybe this was Daniel who got kidnapped, lost his memory, and grew up somewhere else, and for some reason took the name of this killer from Gideon Falls history. And then the final like page is the priest standing up in the junkyard in the city version of Gideon Falls that Norton came from, and Dr. Zoo is like, "Who the hell are you?" And the priest looks down, looks back at her, and says, "I don't know." So just like young Daniel, apparently, assuming that Norton is Daniel, and at this point it seems quite likely that he is, it seems like Norton the priest has also lost his memory upon traveling. Now, is it the trip that makes him lose his memory, or was it the stab wound that the creature, the entity, gave him that made him lose his memory? I don't know. Could be either of those things. So the big thing at the end of this issue, so we've basically confirmed there's like hundreds of Gideon Falls parallel universes, and the big twist of this issue is that Norton and the priest have swapped over into their respective versions of Gideon Falls, which is super exciting to see the sheriff like talk to Norton and like go into all the Daniel stuff and like see where that goes. And then the priest being helped by Dr. Zoo, who understands more about what's happening than he does now because he's lost his memory. This is a very exciting change up in the story. This feels like the sort of thing where if this was a TV show, this would be the end of your season 1 finale. This would be like the big moment you end on and say, come back next year. Actually, what am I saying? It's 2026. These days it's come back in 3 years for season 2. But this would be your big ending to season 1. Excellent cliffhanger. And I say that, like, I'm not mad that I guessed that a page before, because it felt like such a natural, exciting thing to do. The reason why I thought of it is because it was a cool idea that I want to see happen. So, no. And all they are, like, the middle of this book is like almost entirely 2-page layouts and spreads. Whether it be like the seeing the invention or seeing all the different versions of the Gideon Falls. All that stuff looked great. But where it really excels is the horror stuff, where it's like the creepy face in the darkness and seeing the creature climb out of his back. Like it's almost like the original serial killer version of Norton from the town's past became a vessel for this entity inside the barn, but he needs like another vessel to actually be a doorway to, like, I don't know if to get into the real world or whatever he's trying to do. But it's almost like it's all been this prepping over the years for Norton to be this, for young Norton to be this new thing.
Right, it's like he's going backwards through time, right? To the point to where then he could fully make it through. If I'm following what you're saying.
Well, there's no time travel. It's all different versions of Gideon Falls, but yeah.
Right, but starting at one point and working your way backwards, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so no, it's going wild. Obviously, the art here was like going basically supernova, doing all these big concepts. Not that any issue's been weak as far as art's going. It's been wonderfully consistent and creative throughout, but really, really a showcase for it here, and revealing a lot of its big ideas. So, I mean, this was like a 9.5. Honestly, it's hard not to like if you're reading Gideon Falls up until this point and you've been liking the mystery and the story. It's hard not to love this issue because it's like such a full meal of like, here's the next big piece of that puzzle and an exciting place to leave on for next time. So yeah, I mean, that's twice in a row the cliffhangers have been perfect. Like, I mean, as far as cliffhangers to a story go, these last two have been phenomenal. So yeah, good stuff. That is Gideon Falls issue 11. And that'll take us on to the final part of the show where we pick our favourite stuff of the week. Favourite panel/moment, favourite cover, favourite art, and of course top 5 books. So Matt, what is your panel/moment of the week?
All right, so Nightwing had a good one, and that was at the end with the Zani and Superboy Prime, Superboy Prime, Nightwing Prime hovering over, now there's a superhero. I really like the messaging of that one. And Batman, Absolute Batman has all the Poison Ivy stuff, right? And there's so much to pull from there. And I am going to pull from there, and it's going to be the appearance of Ivy in her monstrous form, right? Like, not the ones that we saw with all the different versions that we, that are kind of different versions of him that we've seen over the years, but the fully, the dragon looking arm and all the roses and all the different things, like the true monster. That's mine.
I mean, I think I have to go with Nightwing. I have to go with like the girl telling Nightwing about her dreams. It's just, for me, it was such a great capper to that entire arc. From a conceptual level, I just love it. So it has to be that. Like nothing else is even measuring up this week. Yeah. So, yep, that's that. Cover of the week. I don't actually have like usually I have a couple of ones that I want to mention, and like here's my pick kind of thing. I don't know if I have like an obvious one as much for this. Like, yeah, there's plenty of solid covers. Like the Nightwing cover's solid, but honestly, it has nothing to do with the issue though. He's on a motorbike getting up like a crane. Like, there's nothing like that in the book.
Yeah.
So like, what's that about? The variants for Nightwing aren't really speaking to me. There's a ton of variants for Absolute Batman. There's a bunch of retailer exclusives for this one for whatever reason.
Yeah. But none of those really struck with me.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I agree. They're not necessarily speaking out to me either. The Blanco cover for Superman Unlimited's okay, but like I feel like if I'm picking that, it's just because it's not a week where like covers really spoke to me as much. You know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got a pick?
Yeah, mine is actually that Superman Unlimited. You talked about all the other ones I was going to. But no, it is that Blanco cover. I just love what it's doing with the light, with the red, blue, and yellow. And then it looks like kind of a sky on the bottom of Clark Kent's chin here, like a sunrise. I think it looks really cool. I also like the regular Absolute Batman cover of like the vines coming up through Batman's costume, like through his suit. I think those all look really, really cool. So, but yeah, mine's Absolute Superman Unlimited.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, honestly, the only other thing I could maybe consider is that the main cover for End of Life is actually pretty good. It's just that I dislike that character so much because I've read it that I really don't want to pick it because it says big stupid face. So I'm going to say, I guess I'll just go with that Superman Unlimited cover as well. But not a strong choice for me this week, I would say. All right, art of the week.
If I wanted it to be shock value, much like the comic, I'd say End of Life because Pugh's art was high, but it's Dexter Soy for Nightwing.
Yep, it's Dexter Soy. Yep. Obviously, this is one of these things where if we can include the Patreon books, then there'd be more of a fight. But out of the new books, it's absolutely Dexter Soy. So there you go, easy peasy. All right, Matt, top 5, on you go.
All right, number 1 is gonna be Nightwing. 2 is gonna be Absolute Batman. 3 is Superman Unlimited. 4 is Wonder Woman, and 5, like after 6 feet of dirt, is gonna be End of Life. And
I won't even bother saying mine because it's the exact same list because because there's only 5 new books this week that we read. So that's the pickings. So there you go. That is the picks of the week. I will now tell you what's coming next week from DC Comics. The last week of February, we have Absolute Wonder Woman 17, Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 9, Detective Comics 1106, Superman 35, Justice League Unlimited issue 16, The Flash issue 30, Green Lantern 32, Harley Quinn 59, The Batman Second Night issue 3. Oh, that's next week. That's cool. Looking forward to that.
Ooh.
Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2 issue 7, The Peril of the Brutal Dark, an Ezra Kane mystery issue 1. There's the New History of the DC Universe Dakota Incident issue 1. And then there's facsimiles and stuff. There's a bunch of Dark Knight Returns stuff because it's the 40th anniversary, so they're doing a lot of those. Notably, after next week, we should be done with KO tie-ins, and that's next month is Flash next month's the start of the new run, so we'll be trying that again next month, and so on. Maybe I'll probably be reading Superman again after the KO tie-ins, even though I'm not excited about getting back to Williamson's Superman. I will keep up with it. So
being that it's the last of that Flash thing, I feel obligated to read it. But then also there's a second night, and that's exercised. And there's a lot, so I have decisions to make. Oh, look at Giganta on the cover of Absolute Wonder Woman. That makes me much more excited.
Oh sure, yes. Yes, why wouldn't you be? So no, there's some good stuff to look forward to next week, which is cool. So nice. And I'll have a Patreon book or two, of course, as per usual. So thank you very much, everyone. That'll pretty much wrap up the show. So thank you for joining us. We we'll be back next week as per usual. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get your fix of bonus stuff on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. We just recorded issue 7 of Batgirl Year 1, which is our exclusive classic singles 1 per month series that we're doing. And we'll be moving on to something else once that's done. You can also, of course, vote in the vote, which is not up as we record this, but it'll be up in the next couple of days. And the options for patrons to vote on will be the next issue of Aquaman, the next issue of Supergirl, and as per usual, the old Cassandra Cain Batgirl book, the next issue of that. The reason for that is because those are new arcs, and there wasn't a whole lot of issue 1s coming out next month that we wouldn't be trying anyway, so you can make us dip into a new arc from one of the books that we have previously dropped and see if we click with it. So, hey, that is what's happening. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment, all those things help out a bunch too. So thank you very much for joining us. Apologies for the video version, for Matt's video being like 1 frame like every 2 seconds. I don't know why that's happening this week. It seems like every couple of months there's just like a really rough day where it looks like that. But hey, that is
Discord.
Yeah, but that's the show, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.